hold 5 minute countdown and then fucking go from there to the next and into the intro.
king and his men stole the queen from her bed.
Touchdown!
Bound her in her bone.
Jones takes it
The
in.
seas be ours, and by the powers where we will roam.
What is good, Raider Nation? Welcome back to yet another episode of Raiders Wednesday Night Live Show. I'm joined by my friends Dustin, Eric, and Sergio. Say what's up, everybody.
Salute Raider Nation. Salute to the chat, to the panel. Salute Richard, John. Appreciate all you guys, man.
Yeah, it was good.
Facts. Yeah. As always, salute to the members of this panel for joining. Salute to the mods in the chat for holding it down. We wouldn't be able to do this show without you guys. And last but certainly not least, thank you to our viewers for watching and commenting along with us. As we begin this broadcast, we got another great one for you guys. As always, just a quick reminder before we do get started, our YouTube chatbot, which is called the Nightbot, in the comments section in just a couple short minutes, we'll be posting various links related to us here at DSR. So if you guys wouldn't mind checking out all those links and keeping an eye out for the Nightbot to post those links in the comment section and just following all those links to all of our platforms to tap in with us on all those platforms. We do appreciate that in advance for you guys doing that. Especially out of all the links that the Nightbot is going to be sharing, we would definitely like for you guys to keep an eye out for the link to our DSR Discord server, because we really consider that particular link, that particular platform of ours, to be the heart of what we do here at DSR. So if you guys haven't already, if you wouldn't mind, if you have a Discord account, if you're on Discord, if you wouldn't mind, keep an eye out for that link in the comments section and just following it to join us there at the DSR Discord community. That would be greatly appreciated. It's a tremendous community. We have a whole bunch of stuff going on, and it's a great way to bond with a whole bunch of people over a wide variety of topics, not just all things Raiders. We do in that Discord server do have a Raiders chat. We talk about all things Raiders, but we also have a general chat. We talk about life in general. We talk about the NFL at large. We have fantasy leagues, both NFL and NBA. Speaking of which, now that the NFL season is rolling around, we're now starting up our NFL fantasy leagues in that server. So if you guys are looking for a fantasy football league to join, it's a $0 buy-in and it's a $25 reward to every person who wins any one of those leagues. So 0% risk, 100% profit goes to
And
you
we're
guys.
drafting after next week, or after this preseason game going into the bye week. We'll be drafting them leagues.
Okay. Do you have the exact date, or is it different for?
It's gonna just be. I'll figure it out in that week. It'll either be that week or that weekend, but it will be in that bye week because we have 4 leagues and all of them are gonna be done. Salute to Menace and Melky, and yes, John. He did say that. He never said that.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, as Dustin said, obviously with those NFL fantasy leagues, we're going to be drafting just next week after this last round of preseason matchups. So even more of a reason to join as quickly as possible, especially if you guys are looking to get involved in some kind of competitive kind of fun that is fantasy football. So we do offer that as well. But we also have things like promotional events, like free giveaways. We have free movie nights where we all jump in the Discord and watch a movie together. That's a great way to bond. We also have channels dedicated to Raiders content creators on platforms like YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. And we even have channels dedicated to sports updates throughout various leagues, so you guys can have multiple updates up to the minute updates on various sports leagues. So, like I said, guys, if you wouldn't mind checking out that link to the DSR Discord server that the Nightbot is going to be posting in the comments section very soon. If you guys wouldn't mind doing that and joining us there at that DSR Discord community, we would greatly appreciate that. And not only with that link, but with the various other links that the Nightbot will be posting. It will be posting all those links multiple times throughout the duration of this broadcast. So you guys will have multiple opportunities to check out every single one of those links related to not only us as individuals, but to DSR as a whole. So, like I said, guys, thank you in advance for checking all those links and tapping in with us on all those platforms. So with all that out of the way, without further ado, let's begin the show with our first topic. So, obviously, sort of, riding on the coattails of a topic we had discussed on our show on Monday of this week. Um, obviously with the Josh Jacobs situation, sort of in turmoil right now, not exactly solidified either way. Is he going to play? Is he not? The Raiders coaching staff has to look to other
Blue
options as far
PJ.
as running backs. And obviously, a guy who has performed the best and really been one of the standouts throughout the team as a whole, not just on offense, but one of the guys
AJ Seth.
as part of this preseason for the Raiders so far in 2023 that has really showed out is second-year running back out of Georgia, Zamir White. And so when you take that into account with the fact that also Josh McDaniels has recently said some complimentary things about Zamir White, we could very well be looking at a very substantial expansion of Zamir White's role within this offense and as a member of this team. So why don't we just go around the panel and talk about our thoughts on Zamir White? Do we think he could be the bell cow of this team? Do we think it's going to be a running back by committee approach? All, of course, assuming that Josh Jacobs does not end up being a Las Vegas Raider in 2023. What do you guys think as far as the running back situation goes? Eric, you want to start us off? Are you mute?
Zamir,
Yeah, there we go.
him being RB1, I'm not gonna go that far. That's a bit too steppy.
Mm-hmm.
He could be a decent RB2, but we do go RB by committee. You never know who might be under center, honestly. And even though they said earlier that they're not gonna trade Josh, we heard that before.
Right.
We heard it before. We're not gonna trade him next thing you know, he gone. They said, matter of fact, Gruden said, "Bro, I'm not trading Mac." And what happens? Before week 1, he was down there in Chicago. So
Right.
I'm not trusting the words. But if Josh is gone, Zamir has to be the guy, right? I mean, this guy you traded up for, take it. So there's some kind of plan there. Just in case Josh does leave or there's some issue with the contract, Zamir's the dude. But from preseason, what I'm seeing, he's been performing. He's been looking like the same guy in Georgia that was putting people in the dirt. That was the bruiser back, like the power back. But this is preseason though. Like I gotta see him actually consistently with the ball to make that judgment. Because when he had the ball, what is last year? It was what is after the best. The
Right.
best. But maybe give him a whole new year in his offense, more snaps. Who knows? He could be that guy.
Right.
You never know, honestly. But then again, we have so much depth at running back. It doesn't really matter who's there, honestly. But it's about Zamir. But give him more snaps, he'll perform. Because didn't Josh say in the presser, he practices, he does one practice, so he's getting more snaps. It was somewhere to that. So, hey, give him more snaps and let's see. If he's RB1 week 1, let's see. Put him against that Broncos D line and see how he does. Because usually our running backs, we kill the Broncos. So let's see what he does, honestly.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, first of all, as you pointed out, Eric, I mean, no coach's word is binding when it comes to what they say at any particular point in time about trading a player or not trading a player. Even as far as this own regime goes, I mean, obviously you had not too long ago Josh McDaniels saying, Darren Waller is going to be a big part of what we're going to do here. moving forward, and then next thing you know, he gets traded. So, obviously, if the price is right, if the climate, if you will, or the temperature of the situation is such that the Raiders feel as though Josh Jacobs could indeed be moved, then obviously that's a situation they're going to have to they might end up pursuing. So, but as far as Zamir himself is concerned, um, as we said before, I mean, a good metric, especially for a guy who has only been dealing with small sample sizes and really hasn't been um, given a huge workload since he's come to the Raiders. A huge metric, or probably the best metric we have to judge him on so far, is efficiency, right? His yards per carry. So pretty much anywhere you look, whether it's the regular season last year or even the preseason this year, he's hovering somewhere around high threes, 4.0 yards per carry. So I mean, that being the case, you think about if you were to extrapolate a little bit, if Zamir were to get the same amount of carries that Josh Jacobs got this past year, averaging, like I said, around 4 yards per carry, that's 1,360 yards on the season, which obviously is great, right? That's a home run of a season, and that really is a bell cow kind of a running back, arguably a Pro Bowl season. So, um, obviously, that's not the 1,600 that Josh got to, but if you could sprinkle in a couple more of contributions from other guys down the depth chart when it comes to the running back room, potentially you could, piece together a pretty darn good running game, to say nothing of maybe even some creative possibilities, like given how creatively Josh McDaniels has used the likes of Trey Tucker in the preseason so far. Maybe he gets a decent chunk of rushing yards this year on reverses or, jet sweeps or whatnot. So to me, the possibilities are limitless. And I don't think necessarily Zamir has to be the guy, although I think he definitely could, be the leading rusher on this team, especially in the absence of Josh Jacobs. Sergio, is there anything you wanted to add?
They're gonna do a running back by committee, so
Mm-hmm.
whether we're worried or not, if Zamir's running back one, it's not gonna matter that much. And even then, behind this O line, I can figure that almost any running back could look good, especially once all the starters are out there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because even then, like with that O line, when it comes to run blocking specifically, I mean, like they said, they're gonna use Zamir no matter what, and the Ziegler wants to see Amir used more, and whether they keep Bolden or not, they're probably going to use him if they do keep him. When Brown's healthy, they're probably gonna. It's probably gonna be a battle between Sincere and Brown, and whoever wins that battle, they're gonna use them as well.
Mm-hmm.
So either way, it's doesn't matter that much to me, just because it's a running back by committee. So it's not like we're just relying on one running back this time.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, if I personally were to guess, as far as like the pecking order, who's going to be the change of pace back, assuming that Zamir White is the number one back in this offense for this year, I would probably bet on an Amir Abdullah, maybe Damian Williams if he can stay healthy. Maybe he kicks in a little bit. But like I said, we're just talking about guys making contributions. We're not necessarily talking about everybody getting 5 yards a carry. We're not talking about everybody being an 1,000-yard rusher. We're just talking about overall having a good run game, right? Because obviously that I would argue is a staple of a Josh McDaniels offense. Trying to establish the run, right? Trying to control the clock in a lot of ways, and putting less pressure, on the quarterback, right? Which especially, with the quarterback that they have in this depth chart, throwing 40 times a game is probably not something we're going to see. So, given all that, like I said, I mean, who knows exactly how the pecking order will shake out as far as the running backs are concerned, but like I said, given the complimentary things that Josh McDaniels has recently said about Zamir White, um, and especially given that I'm sure McDaniels is thinking, you can't put a price on the fact that Zamir White has been here. He's been available throughout the entire offseason, whereas some others, have not, right? So you can't you can't put a price on availability. And obviously, given that he's been the number one guy throughout the offseason so far, you have to think that, his familiarity that he's building with the offense is definitely going to matter a lot come the regular season. Dustin, was there anything you wanted to add?
Not really. I mean, like I said, if Josh ain't here, they're gonna do running back by committee. So I mean, we know that. I mean, outside of it, I've said, I mean, 4 or 5 backs are gonna be back there, 1 fullback, 4 halfbacks. So I mean, if it's running Zamir, Sincere, frickin' Amir, and Bolden, I mean, I don't know. I just know it'll be in that area. So that's pretty much where I say because I've said it every time I speak on it.
Okay. Let me just go around the panel one more time real quick, just to get a quick stat prediction because I'm sort of interested in what the numbers might look like. How many carries do you think Zamir White? Well, so okay, let's first assume that Josh Jacobs is completely out of the picture for the 2023 season. Let's say continues to hold out, doesn't sign the tag. How many carries does Zamir White get this year, if that's the case? If we don't see Josh Jacobs play a down of Raider football this year, how many carries? How many attempts? You want to go first, Eric?
Oh, that's tough. A lot of attempts.
Good one, right?
Ooh, that's a lot, man.
The critical.
I get about Vegas now, like the over under.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, right.
Ooh.
That'd be good.
I would say give me a number. I can say over, under, over. I can't even come up with a number. I'm gonna just say a lot.
Okay. Lots. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it obviously depends on how you define it. I'm going to personally say 250 because, like, once again, if we're extrapolating, if we're assuming that he's going to maintain a 4 point, somewhere around 4 yards per carry, 250 brings him around 1,000, right? Which is, and having a 1,000-yard rusher, it obviously is it's usually a part of a good run game. So I would say if we're sort of, putting Josh Jacobs in a rear view mirror, at least for this season, and Zamir White ends up being, the number one guy, even if there is a committee, I would have to think he'd be somewhere around 250, which is still over 100 fewer carries, or excuse me, 90 fewer carries than Josh Jacobs gets, but it can still be effective because if you hit that 1,000-yard mark, obviously it's a good season. Sergio, do you want your prediction?
I say a little over 200. I think it'll be less than 250. I think if Josh isn't running back one, then I think Zamir gets maybe no more than 220 carries, and then the second back is probably most likely going to be Amir. I think he'll probably get around 100, maybe 110.
Mm-hmm.
And then whoever's the third back, they're probably going to get like 20 to 50 carries.
Yeah. I mean, if we're saying it's 200, then we're probably looking at like an 800, maybe 900-yard season for Zamir White, which obviously that could still be sustainable as far as that would probably obviously be more of a committee approach because obviously you're giving those 50 carries to somebody else, whether it's a multitude of backs or it's just one other guy. But to me, if they're going to sustain a good run game, if that's the case, then you're probably going to have to get at least 600 yards from somebody else. And if I remember correctly, Brandon Bolden, at least I don't think he ever reached 600 yards. But for example, Brandon Bolden, who's obviously on this roster now, has had some success with Josh McDaniels in the past. Maybe he goes for like 300 something yards. You get another guy has 300. That together that makes 600 plus Zamir's 800 or 900. We're talking about once again like a decent run game. It's because it's all about trying to make up for the production, obviously, that Josh Jacobs, was able to.
Sorry, guys.
Salute, Ozzy. Yeah, thanks for jumping in. I don't know if you wanted to hop in on this topic of Zamir White and how you think he's going to perform this year. Maybe some of your thoughts on what Josh
Yeah,
McDaniels said
yeah.
about. Yeah, go for it.
I'll jump on real quick about it, but because I've been kind of
Yeah.
saying this since like the whole JJ fiasco with the contract deal and everything, is that if on the off chance that JJ isn't signed, I'm not saying that I don't want him signed. I want him signed. I would love for him to play, but if he doesn't, we have to look
Hmm.
at what's going to happen if he doesn't.
Right.
Then Zamir's obviously going to be the next man up. They drafted him for a reason, and not only
Right.
that, not only that, people who keep saying, "Oh, Zamir ain't shit." Well, what proof is there of that? He had 17 touches last season. So
Right.
what's your sample for saying that? Like he hasn't been given the opportunity yet, and I keep saying that over and over and over. I'm not saying he will be or he won't be shit, but I'm saying we don't know because he hasn't had the same opportunity as Josh. I mean, Josh came in and was the starter from day one since we moved on from Marshawn Lynch. Zamir hasn't been given that chance yet.
Hmm.
So like I've always said that I'm not saying it's Josh or anything like that, but I think he can be serviceable in a running back by committee. I can see him easily getting 1,000 yards behind our offensive line. I've said that since day one. I said our offensive line this year is going to be somewhere between 5 to 7 in run blocking. They were 10th last year. They're only going to get better in year two, and with the improvements at right guard. So that said, I say top 5 to 7 run blocking offensive unit. So with that said, they can probably get 2 or 3 yards before Zamir's even touched anyway. So with that being said, I could easily see him averaging somewhere from 4 to 4.5. So I'd say 1,000 yards, 240 carries roughly, at least 8 to 12 touchdowns.
Hmm.
But yeah, if he's the primary back, that is.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then
I mean, obviously,
yeah, then I agree with what you said, sprinkling in Bolden and whoever else to fit up the rest of the running game.
Right. Yeah, yeah. I mean, and honestly, so obviously we're pretty close as far as our predictions, you and I, Ozzy, and yeah. I mean, looking at the stats that you just gave, 240 carries, 1,000 yards, 8 to 12 touchdowns. Honestly, that's a pretty damn good season. Especially, I'm looking at the touchdowns too. If you can somehow get 12 touchdowns this year, um, I
I
think
just
we're
think our
really
red zone, yeah, I say 12, maybe because our red zone offense is going to be better. So we're going to get a lot more, because there's a lot of times if you go back and look where Josh was stopped at the 1 yard line, at the goal line. And I
Mhm.
don't think that's going to be the case this year with the improvements at right guard and stuff. I think like getting guys running backs in at the 1 yard line or in the red zone is
Right.
it's gonna happen more often. So that's why I say you can probably get 12.
Yeah, yeah, and
Or
I mean, obviously, and I personally feel as though the preseason has proven this for the Raiders this year, that it doesn't really matter who punches it in, or it doesn't matter how the ball crosses the goal line as long as it does, right? Because it's
exactly.
6 points, no matter if you throw it, whether somebody runs it in, whatever the case may be. So, touchdowns, obviously, like I said, I mean that really would be great, especially if he alone can get 12 touchdowns. Because as far as the passing game goes, we know the receivers are going to eat as well. So, whether that's yardage or touchdowns or both. So, just getting 12 touchdowns from your running back room, to me that's perfectly fine. So, especially if it's one guy. So, um, and it doesn't matter, if they end up using one guy to punch in at the goal line. I mean, they don't. I don't know if this running back room has maybe a guy like that. Maybe they might use Jacob Johnson to punch them, over the goal line, obviously, because he'd be harder to bring down, maybe than like a skinnier, less built kind of a back. But um, I think the most important thing is really finding a workhorse, right? Somebody who really can help them, help drives down the field, right? Because it's easy, 5 yards from the end zone to just sort of fall in the end zone, but really finding a guy, I think, who can really help sustain the offense, has the athleticism, has the speed, has the shiftiness, has the ability to follow blocks, football IQ, all that stuff, is so important when it comes to the space between your own goal line and all the way leading up into the red zone. So, looking at this running back depth chart right now, minus Josh Jacobs, I think it's Zamir White. I mean, I think based on everything we've seen, this coaching staff seems to favor him the most. So, you know, and like I said, like he's shown the most production. He's stood out the most as far as running backs go this preseason. So, but yeah, I mean, like I said, your stat prediction, Ozzy, would be great, especially if Zamir White himself can get somewhere between 8 to 12 touchdowns. That'd be a home run for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, be similar to what Josh did in 2019. Had about 1,000 yards, about 8 touchdowns.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and like I said, I mean,
And that's when we
especially
had
with
Rodney Hudson and shit, but yeah.
right. Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, like I said, the receiving core, should be able to, get open a lot. Like I said, I mean, is this offense going to throw a lot? That's probably my biggest question because especially if the run game is going to be sustained, and it really can be a focal point of this offense, then, like I said, it doesn't matter how the ball crosses the goal line, right? It just matters that it does, right? Because one of the big things offensively that I think this team has struggled with in recent years is, settling for field goals too much or not really executing well enough in the red zone. And obviously, every time you do that, it's a 4-point opportunity cost. In other words, instead of getting 7 points, you're settling for 3, and you can do that on a drive or two, but after a while, it adds up. Dustin, did you want to give your predictions on Zamir White carries this year, or any kind of other predictions on the running back room this year? Is he driving?
Yeah, I think he's
okay. Yeah, I guess we'll come back to him. But yeah, was there anything anybody else wanted to add to this topic before we move on?
I think we've said enough on it, really. I think we're pointing out what the facts are.
Okay. All right. So yeah, with that, why don't we move on to the next topic? So Sergio, why don't you get us started on one of your topics concerning the Chris Jones situation? I thought this was an interesting sort of thing to talk about. Obviously, him being a member of the rival Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah, go for
it. So this is in my opinion, really good news, and hopefully it just stays good news since Chris Jones recently today openly stated that he's willing to sit out for the season if he doesn't get a new deal from the Chiefs, which honestly, when against a divisional rival, that's really good news. If their star player, which is the strength of their defensive line, sits out, or even if they can't figure out a deal, or they just do a quick trade with him, and hopefully those other defensive linemen don't turn into another Chris Jones out of nowhere. That's really great news. Yeah, that's really great news for us if especially when it comes to the passing game and the run game too. That'll give, whether Jacobs is here or not, that'll give better room for our O-line in the run game as well as our passing game. That'll be a breath of fresh air if Chris Jones does sit out, or if the Chiefs just can't figure out what to do with him.
I jokingly said on Captain Jack's show when they had that Wild West show where they have the other 3 dudes from our rival teams. I jokingly said you can send him our way, we'll take him, and pair him up with the young and have a great interior pass rush.
Yeah, well, yeah, definitely, from the what's up?
I'd rather pay him than Josh Jacobs. I'm just being honest. Having someone like Chris Jones on the next paired up with Byron Young on passing downs, hell yeah, I'd take that over Josh Jacobs any day. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
to me, it's a more important position. That's just how I see it. You can't replace that pass rush production as easy as you can replace the running back. So.
Yeah, until somebody like Byron Young, or maybe it's Bilal Nichols, whoever it may be, maybe it's a Matthew Butler, until proven otherwise, I would say that a position of need for this team is still defensive tackle. So right then there, if we're just talking positions, outside of Aaron Donald, you probably couldn't ask for a better defensive tackle. So that being the case, first and foremost, I would say Chris Jones is to the Chiefs what Josh Jacobs is to us, in the sense that he's too valuable to them to let him, walk to a division rival, to improve their roster that much. So I would say that that probably would be a
won't happen. Yeah.
situation that the Chiefs would try to avoid at all costs. Just as the Raiders right now are trying to avoid Jacobs, walking and joining the Broncos and or Chiefs. Should he become available. So, it is interesting. Obviously, if we're sort of, playing all Madden team, whatever, super team building kind of a thing. Chris Jones would obviously be a huge boost to this defensive line. We all know what he can do, and there's a reason he's asking for the kind of contract that he's asking for, because everyone knows, what he brings to the table. So, also in terms of the cap space of the Raiders, I really can't see a deal getting done. I just don't think that they would have the space to, sign him to some kind of contract. Even for this year, the AAV that he'd be asking for.
Yeah, what is he asking for though?
I mean, a lot. I don't know if there's a number that was released.
Well, like 15 million?
He wants to be like the highest paid defensive tackle, which I think it's like the highest paid right now, I think, is Aaron Donald, who I think is getting paid like 31 or 32 million per year.
Are you serious? That's right. Fuck me. I didn't think it'd be that much. I thought it'd be like 15. Even Max is on 23. That's an edge rusher though.
So, yeah, I mean, just looking at Chris Jones's contract, so comparable players, Aaron Donald, his contract's valued at $95 million, AV 30, just under 32.
How many years though? 95. How many years is Aaron Donald's contract? Oh, so
30.
Yeah, it is about 30. Yeah.
Jeffrey Simmons with the Titans, 4 years, 94, which is 23 a year. So yeah, I mean, I guess obviously Chris Jones wants something in the neighborhood of that, especially if we're talking about AAV. I mean, maybe ostensibly, I mean, so maybe he would go for AAV, average value less than that of Aaron Donald. But so this year he's supposed to make $19.5 million. But of course he becomes a UFA in 2024. So obviously,
the only way it would happen with us is if we moved on from certain players and then had paid him the 19 and then extended his contract after 24 and 24.
Right. Yeah. So
that space will be higher. But anyway, yeah.
Right, and so there was a potential out in his contract after 2022. I guess they can't exercise that anymore. Because what I'm thinking is, I think the Chiefs, they hold all the cards right now as far as they still have him under contract. They could decide his future. I guess obviously, before he becomes a free agent to start this next offseason, if he decides to hold out the entire year, then obviously the Chiefs would be wary of that deadline if the relationship really went that sour, had soured that much, and then they would have to trade him, I would think, to somebody
Jones,
far from Las Vegas as possible.
Yeah.
Are you talking about Jones?
Yeah.
Yeah, Chris Jones.
He said he can afford to sit out the whole year.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Well, yeah, he said he can afford it.
Well, he would be. I mean, he has plenty of millions of dollars.
Fuck yeah, he said he can afford to sit out the whole year.
I mean, once again, it's one of these things where like it's a tough deal, right? It's like the franchise tag, right? I mean, you're looking at $10 million, even though it's 1 year. I get the issue really is a lack of security long term. That's really the issue at heart here. But still, even though it's 1 year deal, I mean, you're missing out on $10 million. it's a lot of money. And then with Chris Jones's cases, it's it's almost 20 million, even though it's just 1 year. So, can he
He wants
afford? Can he
30.
actually afford that?
Yeah, he wants 30. That's okay.
He
Yeah,
wants 30, 32.
Right, which would be in the neighborhood, like I said, of the Aaron Donald AAV. So, you know, I understand. Like I said, I understand the desire to be locked up long term, have the security. Um, I just don't know. I mean,
To be honest with the Chiefs, and how old is Chris Jones?
He's 29.
Yeah, so he has at least 3 years left. That's like 29, 30, 31. So if they're smart, they should restructure Mahomes and pay Chris and backload some of his contract because the cap will go up over the next 2 years.
yeah, I mean,
Fuck Chris
I don't.
Jones. Who gives a fuck about him, man?
Yeah.
He's a fucking Chief. He ain't even a Raider. So
Well, the reason why it's news is that it'd be really great if he can sit out.
Yeah, exactly right. Addition by subtraction for us, like that would obviously, be a big deal, right? You don't have to deal with him up front.
Josh, like, who else is on AD line? Because if Chris Jones is not there, their secondary is already like who's
Yeah,
cheap. So
right.
it'll make it easier to beat them, honestly. Because Chris Jones, you got a game plan for that. Like you got to literally have the whiteboard out for him to stop him. Their secondary, Trent Duffy and them, they're not ready. They're not ready. But Chris Jones, he's the problem. But if he sits out, yeah, sit out longer, especially play against us. Let's sit out. Just sit out.
I mean, if Jones is putting up, if Mahomes is putting up 30 fucking points like always,
Yeah.
when the defense ain't fucking doing shit stopping either side like it always is.
Right.
I mean, what gives the defense if he's there or not?
Yeah. He's just a big factor.
With them there, we still have 30 points up. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Him there or not, it doesn't matter. Mahomes puts up 30, 40 points. That's where the problem is.
By himself.
Mm-hmm.
But imagine just getting him. I know there's no way we can trade for him, but there's a way to get him in the offseason and have him mentor Tyree. Oh, that would be amazing. Tyree and Max mentoring Tyree Wilson. That'd be great. But
and Max, yeah, exactly.
I ain't gonna lie. He did like a tweet saying that he would like to be in silver and black. That was true.
Really?
Yeah. It said we can go.
Right. Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. But this holdout for.
Well, that guy said he would look good in silver and black, and he liked his comment.
Right. But sitting out for 8 weeks is tough. And he's cool with it. Like, man, they gotta figure a way to pay him. But that's what happens.
That's what I believe. I believe the same shit, lunatic. Fucking run right at the fucking competition. Why we always being so pussy about trying to get wins.
Yeah.
Mahomes is gonna always be the problem. You're gonna have to stop Mahomes in order to win.
Right, yeah, and I would argue, and this is sort of the counterintuitive thing about the Chiefs, is that in a weird way, the worse their defense gets, the better off the Chiefs are, because if your defense, really gives the opposing offense a problem and it really makes them, control the clock, that's that much more time that Mahomes is on the sideline, and that's really how you beat the Chiefs. I mean, obviously the Raiders in 2020 pretty much proved that concept. So, but the problem is that if it's so tempting, to have all these chunk plays against the Chiefs defense, which, by no means is elite, then, that just opens up an opportunity for the Chiefs to fight fire with fire. And then, as Dustin said, you're going up against Patrick Mahomes. So, in a weird way, not having Chris Jones might actually, help them because, obviously the run defense, even the pass defense, and the defense as a whole, any way you cut it for the Chiefs is going to be even worse. They're probably going to give up huge chunk plays, if not, huge home run plays. But the opposing team's offense's drive is only, 30 seconds maybe, or maybe like a minute or two. So, we'll have to see how it plays out. But and obviously the value of Chris Jones really can't be underscored enough. But like I said, in weird ways, not having him might make them better, but also in a lot of ways it would also make them worse. So hopefully, for the Raiders' sake, he does continue to hold out. And I don't know if he ever would be a Raider. That's obviously something that would probably have to happen long after he leaves the Chiefs, if anything.
Fuck,
But
I ain't trying to pay that motherfucker no $32 million. I'll pass on that shit all day.
yeah, so like I said, I mean, obviously there'd be a whole bunch of factors involved. Who knows? It would actually be a realistic thing to try to pull off. But for here now, I don't personally see Chris Jones becoming a member of the Raiders, especially with the Chiefs still, holding all the cards. Him being still under contract and whatnot. So we will have to see how that situation plays out as we approach the regular season.
Yeah,
Was
not
there
for that
anything?
much money.
What's up?
I was just gonna say, not for that much money. If we're gonna spend that kind of money, I'd rather get a linebacker.
Yeah, well,
some stud linebacker.
Yeah, I mean, obviously,
Cleveland can afford that money. They got $34 million right now. They can afford that shit for sure.
Which one?
Cleveland.
Yeah, Cleveland. Yeah, that would be a good spot for him.
They easily have the most money.
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, we'll have to see how the Chris Jones situation plays out. Who knows exactly what's going to happen, but for here now, obviously it's a huge contract.
If we paid him $32 million, didn't give Josh fucking it, that would just be the motherfuck you ever. So crazy, even implying it.
Was there anything else anybody wanted to add to this topic before we move on?
I'm good.
Okay. Ozzy, why don't we segue to one of your topics on who you believe should be the QB3 of this team?
Yeah, I've been kind of vocal about this just because, I mean, it will come down to the last preseason game, really, but after seeing Hoyer last week, I feel like that guy just needs to be in the sideline with a clipboard, to be honest. I mean, I feel like it's a waste of a roster spot. I really do. Because, I mean, if he's just there to teach Aiden O'Connell, why can't he do that as an assistant freaking quarterback coach or some shit? Like, why does he need to be suited up for that? Doesn't make sense to me. Like, I'd rather see what we got in Chase Garbage, to be honest. And
yeah, no.
Like, this is why, though, because next year, the 2024 draft class of quarterbacks is probably going to be the deepest quarterback class we've seen in a decade. I'm just saying. Mm-hmm. So, like, I'd like to know exactly who's in my quarterback room right now going into next offseason. Like, so I'm kind of with Dustin, too, that if Jimmy fucks up and doesn't play well, or if he gets hurt, just throw fucking Aiden in there so we can see what the fuck we got. Because we need to go into next offseason knowing exactly who and what we got at quarterback. So we can know whether we're going to draft a quarterback high or in the later rounds. Because even if Aiden is the guy, I still would like to draft his backup in the next draft. Because even Jimmy is going to be here for 2 years anyway. You look at his contract, Jimmy's here for 2 years. I guarantee you by 26, Jimmy's out of here. Unless he's winning Super Bowls, Jimmy's going to be out of here by 2026. That's the way I see it. So we need to. So like, if I'm GMing and stuff, you got to think like a couple of years ahead, like what the long term plan is.
Mm-hmm.
So if the long term plan is Aiden O'Connell, then we need to think, okay, well, who's his backup going to be after Jimmy and Hoyer and Chase aren't on the team anymore? I'd rather draft his backup next year, start grooming that motherfucker, so that by the time Aiden is the starter, his backup is only like a year behind him. As far as learning the scheme and the playbook and all that, so if something happens to Aiden, we've got a serviceable backup that we've drafted, that we brought in the same way we brought in Aiden. And if you go back to like when Josh McDaniels and Ziegler and that first came to the Raiders, they literally said in one of their interviews that they want guys at quarterback, like not just the starter, but also the backup, who's like someone they've brought in, someone they've groomed, someone that knows the system, so they don't have to go through like the free agent market for quarterbacks every year for like backups or starters. So the smart thing to me, and not just that, if you have Aiden on his rookie deal starting in 2024, 2025, depending on how things go, having him starting on his rookie deal still, then having another rookie behind him on his rookie deal being the backup, that's going to free up major cap space to build the defense. If you got one of the cheapest but most like decent quarterback rooms in the NFL. And I can just see him doing it because they've done it before. They've done it when they drafted Brady, Matt Castle, fucking et cetera, et cetera. So I can see them definitely getting a quarterback, whether it's first round or third round or whatever remains to be seen. But I reckon we should at least get another quarterback next year in the third round at the latest. And then go like maybe linebacker and corner in the first two. So I want to see what we're going to Chase to see whether we need another backup or not. Maybe Chase comes out, he plays well, he can be the backup. But we won't know if they don't give the kid a shot. So that's why I'm saying that I don't like this next Rams game. I mean, not Rams game, so Cowgirls game. I want to see Chase. I would rather see Chase out there all 4 fucking quarters. We've seen enough. We know what Aiden is. Aiden to me is like we've seen that he's got that skill. So I don't feel like we really need to see any more out of Aiden right now. We don't need to see shit out of Jimmy except for that's just like one series, just like warm him up to fucking before week 1. And we don't need to see shit out of Hoyer. I think we've seen enough of Hoyer at this point. So I'd rather just stick Chase out the whole fucking time. Let the kid run a game and see what he can fucking actually do. Because we've had him on the roster for like 2 years now and he's had fuck all playing time. So anyway, I'll let you guys go.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with you first and foremost about, Chase Garbers, right? I mean, he obviously hasn't played a lot, but, the very little we've seen of him, I would say he looked better than Hoyer has so far. I mean, obviously, Garbers had that one, touchdown drive.
Daddy.
He's younger than Hoyer, obviously. I just don't see like you, Ozzy. I don't really see the point in having Brian Hoyer on the field in any capacity. I mean, maybe it's a little too much of a stretch though to have him be the practice squad quarterback, just because, as you also pointed out, him holding a clipboard could in and of itself be valuable because he's been around McDaniels and the offense, for as long as he has. So. I mean, when we're talking about a quarterback this deep on the depth chart, the probability that they're going to see the field is small, and also, it's hard to really have faith in the season in general. If it gets to the point where the QB3 has to play, even whether that's Hoyer or even Chase Garbers. That being said.
Sorry, James. That being said, even though it was regular season and knock on wood it doesn't happen, but we did have to go to quarterback 3 because we ended up in the 49ers situation. I still would rather see fucking Chase out there over Hoyer. So at least I know Hoyer. Yeah. At least I know Chase can use his fucking legs to escape the pocket and shit. So, but
yeah, no, exactly. I mean,
I feel like Hoyer's arm strength was gone a bit too. Like if you look at that throw where he underthrew Mayer was wide the fuck open and he underthrew him like a motherfucker. In that last game against the Rams, like he underthrew Mayer by a mile. That dude was wide the fuck open. Like, that was worse than fucking Derek Carr missing Hunter Renfrow in the fucking Steelers game. I'm just saying, like that's how bad it was. That's how bad that throw by Hoyer was against the Rams. It was worse than Derek Carr to fucking Hunter Renfrow. He's wide open, running behind the fucking safety or whatever the Steelers go.
I just want to say from the second we've had Garber, I said he was going to be it. Even when they cut him, in, I said, "Oh no, that was a fucking mistake. I wouldn't have got that motherfucker." And then they brought him right back.
Yeah, I remember that.
Like I said,
they probably heard you and they're thinking, "Oh, we don't want to piss off Dustin."
Hey man, fuck them. Hoyer, dude, I know him from the get-go. The only thing that scares me about him is he's a Josh guy. He knows the system.
Yeah, I know.
If something happens, they're going to look to familiarity, somebody that's just been there longer, they think has more comfortability. And then we're implying that it's also Jimmy and Aiden both being hurt. So, I don't know. I mean, I would like to see, like I said, I would like to see Aiden for sure, or Chase for sure. But part of me thinks they want to see more of Hoyer to see if he would be more games in on him. the more games he plays, is he going to get better as he goes? Is what I think.
Yeah. And I get your point of view. I get where you're coming from, but I'd just rather develop the young guy. That's just a personal opinion, I guess.
I would too. I've said it 100 times. But I
And
know
like
how
I
these
was
guys
saying,
think.
yeah, like I was saying, going into next year, I really want to know what our quarterback room's going to be because, like I said, there's just so many good quarterbacks coming out next year. I mean, even that guy from
I think
what
they're
is
going
it,
to draft a
Arkansas?
quarterback. I think they're going to draft a quarterback no matter what because
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
no matter how you look at the roster, Hoyer, Jimmy, both of them will be gone in the future. Then you got Chase and Aiden. Aiden's the only one going to have any type of show because he's really been the only one that's had it so far. So they're going to most definitely draft quarterback. I can see it 100%.
Yeah. The question is just going to be what round. I mean, I'd rather draft, say, even round 3. Unless we somehow end up with 2 seconds or something.
I mean, like I said, if they know something or see something, if they're willing to pull the trigger in the first round or the second,
Yeah, exactly. It just depends.
And if we're higher pick in draft because of our record, then it'd be like first round 20th pick, second round 20th pick or something like that, So.
Yeah, I just really want us to get that stud linebacker in the first round, though. I mean, we'll see how the season goes. Who knows? Maybe someone at linebacker can show up. We'll see. Maybe Diablo can be what we hope he could be.
A lot of people there right now that I think that's what we're all hoping is that somebody pans out eventually. I mean, there's a guy that's in there that's playing like a fucking heathen. Well,
Drake Thomas
really.
Bernie?
Who?
You saying Bernie and Drake Thomas?
Yeah, they're both playing like savages, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those dudes been crazy. Thomas against the run and Bernie and pass coverage is like the perfect duo. Even though it's preseason, it's perfect.
They've been playing at a high level, and it's like I said on Monday, we haven't been ranked in the top 4 in defense in preseason, regular season, and fucking God who only knows how long. And I've always said, like, to be the 4th best defense in the preseason right now. I know, like, a lot of people think, the preseason doesn't matter, but I think that fucking matters. That's a big leap for the fucking Raiders defense, man. The difference is can they keep it together? Can they keep that going into the regular season and be able to keep that energy? But I think that's a massive jump from where we were last year.
Yeah, facts. I think it doesn't matter how you look at it, preseason, regular season, our defense is definitely looking better than it did last year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I think we're all in agreement that, when it comes to, on the field capabilities, somebody like Chase Garbers is definitely more serviceable than Brian Hoyer. So, like I said, I mean, I wish if they had brought him in, they would have just made him the quarterback's coach if they were really keen on him. But, like I said, I mean, the third string quarterback, if you do get to that point, obviously you want the best option possible. But that's pretty desperate and that's pretty slim pickings as far as quarterback play and quality is concerned. So
I think the thing you got to look at too is Josh said something in his presser that makes a lot of sense too. Is that just because the rule was put into place, they can have 3 quarterbacks. It doesn't mean all teams are going to have 3 quarterbacks. And just like you said with that Niners deal, it was more of a fluke thing that happened in the first place. They haven't had to have a third quarterback in any situation for a long period of time. So, like you said, I wouldn't overanalyze
a 4th quarterback and then having to use their running back as a quarterback.
Yeah, like I said, I just think a lot of people are overanalyzing, and he said out of his own mouth, I wouldn't overanalyze it too much.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we'll have to see how it plays out. I mean, so because honestly, yeah, if the Raiders were to take advantage of this new rule, I guess that would ultimately mean that they'd have to get another quarterback for the practice squad if they were to have, um, the extra quarterback on the active roster, um, which, obviously, I think the Raiders would benefit from that because they could still, have Hoyer, in the building, with the team on the sideline, sort of, maybe instructing the likes of Aiden O'Connell, to say nothing, and maybe even Jimmy G. Um, because obviously Jimmy G has spent, several years removed from Josh McDaniels, so he might need some refreshers as far as understanding the offense.
Yeah,
Hell,
I feel like
Hoyer
that's what they're
probably
gonna
needs to
do.
be getting some lessons from Aiden
Yeah, well,
about how to be some fucking accurate and how to hit dots and fucking
Yeah,
drop dimes. Like
yeah.
that's
That
probably
last
what
game,
Aiden can teach him
that last game,
how
Hoyer
to
showing
get
Aiden
past the
everything not to do.
20-yard line.
right.
I'm just saying that last game, Hoyer was showing Aiden everything not to do. Don't hold the ball
Yeah,
too
that's
long.
bad.
Don't underthrow your fucking tight end, etc.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, as with anything else, we'll have to see if the Raiders do indeed exercise their new privilege of having that extra active quarterback. But yeah, as far as the QB3 position, now if they're not going to have use that new rule to their advantage, then like I said, it's sort of a debate between familiarity with the system and probably superior on-field talent. So it all depends on how you, I guess, view a third string quarterback. But hopefully, like I said, whatever the case may be, the Raiders do not get
I
to the
think at
point
the end
where,
of the day, they're going to view Hoyer because they can put Hoyer to the third and put him to the practice squad and still be able to educate receivers and players on the system. Like I said, I've said even with next year's draft class that's coming out, uh, they're going to have a lot of good quarterbacks in there. And I mean, a guy like Chase, I've said, like, I felt like if Chase wanted to be here for sure, he would have showed up this year. He ain't showing up this year. He hasn't showed up yet, and I was high on him last year. So I think
Yeah,
quarterback position is it's
so
a
one.
very crucial spot, especially when you're in these type of systems. I mean, he can be the third. You're gonna get lost. Like you're gonna get lost in these type of deals because Jimmy will be here for 2 years supposedly. Then you got Aiden behind that would take over. Chase would end up too far down the line, and then you'd have your backup between Aiden and Chase, because you'd draft them next year. So, like I say, I think if Chase wanted to be here, he would have already showed to be here. But I feel like in the first game, I didn't see much from him that indicated he was doing any better to begin with. So, like, this is how I'd have to look at it. I think at the end of the day, Aiden has never even played in the system. He's never played with these players. He's never played in the NFL. He's never played against not ones, twos, threes, fours, or any of the talent. And he out there surpassing every guy out there, every guy on the field. If we're looking at Hoyer, 38 years old, ain't even fucking holding this guy's clipboard. We're looking at Jimmy, that we're just giving him the starting job because they paid him $23 million because that's how everybody looks at it apparently. So that's how I mean, where's Chase being? Nowhere. Chase ain't got no place for this motherfucker. Hoyer's a Patriot. Fuck, he's gonna have a spot here. It's all bullshit. Fucking down the deal. The difference is if they release Chase this year, only roll with the two, which I have a feeling they're going to do because I feel like what Josh said in that presser said, like, too many people would overreact to it. And just because the rule is put into place doesn't mean people would emphasize it. And the fact that the rules even put into place was the fact of a fluke deal that's happened only maybe once or twice in the history of the game. So like I say, I don't know if they would want to ready and do all that extra work. So I feel like if you got two good people, and in my opinion, when you're looking at Aiden and you're looking at Jimmy, like Aiden hasn't had the injury problem. So I don't know why people would imply that he would just go out and get injured right away to begin with. So like I said, man, I mean, those type of things is up to them. I have no fucking idea, nor does anybody else. So I don't think it's even relevant.
Yeah, There's the only thing is, I feel like Chase just hasn't been given a fair shot, but it is what it is.
At the end of the day, he practices and trains with them, and if he wanted to be on the team, he'd clearly show he's better than Aiden. You know, he's been in the system a year longer. I mean, I think he would have a clear-cut advantage over Aiden to even begin with, and he's not even on Aiden's level, nowhere even close. The accuracy, anything, he doesn't see it even nothing like Aiden. That's all I'm saying. Like he should already have the advantage. If they go into practice and Chase Garbers is just clearly better, then he would have that job. You know, they're not just going to give it over there just because. I mean, Ziegler has shown that he'll play best player, you know, over the talent. So,
yeah. So I mean, like I say, you know, we're gonna have to see what all plays out. But you know, like I said, the QB3 is not exactly the most crucial position. So whatever decision they make, you know, obviously whoever ends up being QB4 will obviously be moved to the practice squad, so they'll still be, you know, in the realm of the Raiders and they can be elevated at any point in time. But like I said, it basically comes down to, you know, familiarity with the system or superior on-field play. You know, whichever, you know, you'd favor, whichever you prefer. So I'll have to see what decision the coaching staff makes to that end. Moving on to we all discuss our thoughts on, and this sort of ties into, you know, the QB3 battle, because obviously this upcoming preseason matchup with the Cowboys on Saturday will probably play a role in who the coaching staff decides will be the QB3, to say nothing of various other positions across various other depth charts. Why don't we just give our thoughts, you know, as far as, you know, what we're looking to see, who we think might be a standout, how much of the week one starters are we going to see in this preseason matchup? What do you guys think? Sergio, you want to go first?
I think for this game, whatever the starting lineup is, and then whoever's still out there by the time it's the fourth quarter, it's going to determine who made this roster and who didn't. Because I feel like if there's certain individuals still out there in the fourth quarter, then those are just people trying out for practice squad. Whoever's starting for this game is probably people just trying out for the third string or the second string. Because it seems like after the first two games, they already know who their first and second strings are, most of them, in almost every position. So unless you just want to win another preseason game, I guess that's how like I see the next game going on, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, I totally agree. I mean, obviously, you know, at this point in the preseason, the coaches probably have a pretty good idea of, you know, who's going to be what to them, who they're going to cut. Obviously, as they approach the deadline to make those, you know, cuts down to the 53-man count of the official roster. So yeah, I do agree. We're probably going to see a pretty sharp drop off, probably between first half and second half. As far as, you know, first of all, the week one starters, the guys who are locks, obviously they're big. You know, the core pieces to their both offense and defense. And then beyond that, you know, probably third and fourth, definitely the fourth quarter. Like you said, Sergio, there's probably going to be a lot of guys in that fourth quarter who either they're still unsure about, are they going to keep them on the practice squad, or are they just going to, you know, be done with them altogether? Or are they just sort of, you know, there to, I guess, take up the rest of the time of the game, and the coaching staff is not exactly keen on watching them because they've already made up their mind.
I'll tell you, if it was me, dude, I would straight up do Jimmy versus fucking Aiden, dude. Like, I'd figure out who the fucking first string quarterback is going to be. Like, that's what I'd be fucking doing. I'd be like, all right, Jimmy, you got first half, Aiden got the second half. Let's go. Fucking see who's going to win this shit. Because I can give two fucks about the third string. I can care less, dude. Like, if motherfuckers trip and fall on dicks that hard, dude, and end up at the third fucking quarterback, we're done anyways, dude. You know, like I'm not sitting here trying to debate a third string quarterback. You know, like I'm not trying to debate third string any motherfucking buddy, dude. Like if our players get that depleted at that main of a position, then we're done anyways. Count it out, pack it up, let's go home. Fuck call next year. You know, like so. Like I say, I just think freaking for me, I want to know who's going to be the better quarterback for the season and our future. So if it was me, I mean, I don't care. Nothing is proven Jimmy is the fucking best quarterback for us. So I would most definitely play him. I would most definitely play Jimmy for at least the whole quarter, at least a quarter, at least half a quarter. I mean, Aiden's got to come in right behind him and play with some main players because I said it in that game against the Rams with Hoyer in Discord. I said it, man. I'm like, hey, if fucking Aiden came in right now, he would go down the field and score a touchdown. I said he'd do it right fucking now. What happened the second he comes out of halftime? Bam, goes straight downfield, scores fuck touchdown. Like, this dude's doing them with backups, dude, second, third string fucking dudes and making them look like they're fucking balling. So go throw him out with, Adams and all of them, Jacoby, Renfro, all them dudes. Like, he's going to frickin' go downfield probably every time. Like, that's the thing. He gives the presence, and people want to keep talking about, oh, well, he hasn't played against the ones or this or that. If the Dallas is playing ones in the first, let him play. Like, straight up, dude. Like, teams are going to get accolated. The fucking Chiefs and everybody been getting accolated since week motherfucking one. So not everybody has the same fucking thinking about, oh, we're only going to play our starters for a quarter. Or they're going to play. These guys are going to start playing their players a lot because they want their shit to be ready when week one comes around and be ready to go fucking play and beat people. You know, they're not like, oh, let's wait till week 6 in the season to finally be there. You know, they want to be there starting off. So, like I said, if it was me, I would hope that they would play him, but I know they're not. They're going to just roll Jimmy and Nathan's going to be the backup, and that's how it's going to be. But tough shit. Outside of that, I really care less. I just want week 1 to come so we can go out there and start putting W's or L's on the board either way. So.
Yeah. I mean, you know, obviously, one way to approach the quarterback situation for this preseason, the final preseason matchup coming up is that you have 4 quarterbacks and you have 4 quarters. I mean, it's possible that each quarterback gets a quarter. That's one way to approach it. I mean, I think if I remember correctly, Chase Garbers did not play at all. Maybe he did it towards the very end against the Rams this past week. So, you know, maybe only play 3 guys. You know, we'll have to see how that all plays out. But, you know, yeah, I mean, I did. You know, obviously at this point, like it's pretty clear that QB 1 and 2 is Jimmy and Aiden. Now, what order that's going to be in, I guess, is still up for debate. And obviously, we'll have to see what happens come week 1. But yeah, I mean, you know, not just for the quarterbacks, but all the way down the depth chart. I mean, you know, I would say one of the only position group probably, if I were to pick one off the top of my head, that would need the most clarification and would need this final preseason game to really solidify would be the linebackers, because obviously, you know, with the recent news of the season-ending injury to Darian Butler, a new spot has opened up. You know,
we signed the guy already. We signed him today, the linebacker.
Right, exactly.
And the D tackle.
Right. So yeah. So I mean, obviously, with signing a new linebacker, you know, you have another guy to try out, right? And you only have the one game to do it before the regular season. You know, obviously, with the play of Drake Thomas, maybe his spot is solidified now, or maybe they still want to try him out with certain things. So to me, the linebacker room is probably the most in flux if I were to pick a position group right now. But you know, it will be interesting to see how this coaching staff approaches not only how they're going to, you know, what guys are going to try out throughout the game, but how long are the week 1 starters going to be in? How long are we going to see, you know, Devontae Adams? How long are we going to see Hunter Renfro?
See, like I think on
That
certain
is better.
people, I think people like Adams and stuff, it should be like for maybe a few sessions because he's already going to probably be him. But there's other people I think would have to be in there longer, play longer to get acclimated, start getting in rhythm. I mean, not everybody takes the game the same exact way, and not everybody can come out and just dominate right away. You know, like basically what I'm saying, not everybody is Max and fucking Adams. You know, some people
Right.
it takes longer and takes more chemistry with people. For me to sit here and say like, hey, we're going to spend more time worrying about who the third and fourth stringers are versus who the starters are, I think that's crazy as hell because why wouldn't you be getting ready now? Like, I'm not understanding why you want to be getting ready now to get Jimmy, everybody going to go into the regular season. I mean, they're going to go from 0 to hero right away, not playing a quarter to 4 quarters, like not playing a snap to every snap. I mean, I don't know if that's good football. I think like if they were smart, they would bring him in. Like I said, play a quarter, even half. I mean, you're going to start playing 4 quarters here every fucking day or every Sunday or Thursday or Monday. You know what I mean? Like you're going to be playing full football. So I mean, if everybody felt like they were that good, why do they even bother showing up to preseason? You know, like that's the way I look at it. And if that's the case, why are they the ones that end up getting hurt? Because they're not the ones playing. So I don't know. I mean, like I said, I can give two fucks about our third string quarterback or our fourth string fucking player. Like I'm pretty sure they know who they are. I mean, I think at the end of the day, I thought we were supposed to play the best players on the team. Well, that's what I thought. Aiden got a 93.1 QBR rating in the preseason right now. He's dominating, highest quarterback in the deal. What has Jimmy shown that can outperform Aiden? I've said, like, what is he doing that's outperformed Aiden? Put Aiden behind that fucking line and see if he don't go 4 for 4 down there, not underthrow his fucking receiver in a wide open fucking throw down behind him where he has to stop and lean down to grab the ball. I mean, Aiden would dot his ass, fucking blink, fucking right on it, keep on running. Like that's what I say. I thought we were supposed to play the best quarterback, man. So for me, I don't think Jimmy's the best quarterback. I believe that if they get to play in the preseason, that Aiden's going to prove he's not. Aiden's going to prove that he's a better quarterback than Jimmy, and that's all I'm saying is if we're going to try to win Super Bowls and try to win these games, if Aiden can go out and beat him in the preseason at the position, what's that say for Jimmy? Like that, what's that say for Jimmy? We're jocking the wrong dude at the wrong position. I mean, that's all I'm saying is isn't it supposed to be if the rookie quarterback comes in there and outclass this motherfucker by a mile, which he's been doing the whole time, which he's been doing the whole entire time. I mean, what was he, 11 for 161 and 2 touchdowns in a quarter? In one fucking quarter? Like, fuck, come on, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, as we've said before, the play of Aiden O'Connell in the absolute least you have to think, has put a significant amount of pressure on Jimmy G, at least in the short term, because, he has to know that everybody's eyes are going to be on him now, because given what we know about Aiden O'Connell and how comfortable he seems in this offense, a couple slip ups and Jimmy G, really talking about people banging on the table demanding for Aiden, and rightfully so, right? Because, like I said, it's extremely tempting to have a young quarterback who obviously doesn't have anywhere near the injury issues that Jimmy G does, who's especially playing this well. It's very tempting to want to see him play in real meaningful football. So, I mean, like I said, like if I were a betting man, I'd say that even if I were to bet on it today, going into week one, Jimmy G will be the starter, but it's really just a matter of how long he's going to be the starter, right? And it's obviously first and foremost going to be dependent upon, how valuable he is to the team, whether that's availability through health or it's quality of play. So, one way to approach this last preseason game is, as far as Aiden goes, is to just give him as many reps as possible. because especially for a rookie, you can't put a price on reps.
I would
Um,
let Aiden just go play the whole game, dude. Like, say, fuck it. Just play the whole fucking game. Let's see what you got, dude. Because at this point, we already know what fucking apparently Jimmy's God in football, so we know what he can fucking do. So we don't need to see any of him, apparently. Hoyer's garbage and Chase ain't Aiden. So, I mean, like I said, I would want to see Aiden go out there and just see what he can do for a whole game. What's his stat numbers? What's his number? I mean, if this guy puts up 5 fucking touchdowns by the halftime or, by the third quarter, I mean, that's the kind of shit I'm trying to say, dude. I mean, this guy, he's only playing a few quarters. Jimmy played one snap and one possession and looked bad. Like, in my opinion, I didn't think he looked all great. They ran the ball, you underthrew the fucking player, and then they're not going to put him out. Like, then we're going to start the season and go 4 straight fucking quarters of football and hope that he's going to get better as they go. Like, isn't that what these games are for, is to see if he gets better? Like, if you can't get better against the 2s or even 1s, what the hell makes you think you're going to go out there and beat teams like Buffalo and them? I mean, the thing is every time Aiden stepped on the field, he ain't showed any type of slouchness in any way, shape, or form. Looks poised as fuck, sharp as shit, fucking dots every damn dude going down the field. I mean, he just looks really good, so that's all I'm saying is like if they ain't gonna let them two battle it out, then let's just see a game of Aiden the whole time. Like, I want to see what he can do. He's already made all these corner or wide receivers, and if we're sitting here looking at Wilkerson, Cole, other people, if they're going to get starting jobs, then this should be a fair quarterback giving them a chance at the starting job, So.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, as we've seen in recent years with other teams, the essentially washed up veteran in front of the young promising rookie eventually has to surrender his spot to the rookie. We saw that obviously with Tyrod Taylor and Justin Herbert a couple years ago in LA with the Chargers, and just last year we saw it with Mitch Trubisky and Kenny Pickett in Pittsburgh with the Steelers. So obviously, like I said, there is that dynamic now where there's a lot of pressure, I think, on Jimmy G to perform well. I mean, I would also say, as far as this upcoming preseason game is concerned, reps do matter for the veterans as well, and especially a guy like Jimmy G who's missed so much of the offseason. You're probably going to want him to get as many reps as possible. Now, obviously, this is a guy who you might not want to keep out, in for the entire game for obvious reasons. But I don't know if we're going to see Aiden the entire game. I mean, another way to approach the quarterback room right now, for that preseason game is if you're just going to have Aiden and Jimmy, go at it, like you said, Dust. Maybe first quarter is Jimmy, and then second quarter is Aiden, or maybe vice versa. Who knows what we're going to see? So.
Yeah, I just figure Aiden's gonna hit the bench apparently, so might as well get the best out of him before you got to go park your car in the garage. That's the way I look at it. I mean, this guy's gonna fucking sit out all year long, not fucking play the game. I mean, I'd like to know that he's pretty refreshed in the game before he sits out. That's why I just say, it just sucks that we're gonna play Jimmy over Aiden. I think it's crazy as hell, but it is what it is. I mean, I get it, but that's why I'm just saying, like, if you just made a clear competition out there, dude, like, half the NFL, probably more than half, I bet 7/8 of the NFL is going to be running starters out there, dude. I mean, there's probably not any doubt in my mind. So for me, I would push Aiden against Jimmy because at the end of the day, I don't give a fuck, dude, what any person says. If Aiden understands the system, understands the fucking team, every person states that he is clear as fuck in the huddle. He demands leadership. He makes sure people are paying attention. They say he is poised as shit out there. Like, that's what we're supposed to have. That's what I thought it's supposed to be about. If Aiden gets hurt, then go to Jimmy. Like, I don't see any reason why you wouldn't do it like that, but to sit here and run Jimmy, not practice him, not do these things and imply like, hey, this dude just came off a career year in fucking the Niners, dude, like that's just even more delusional as hell. So like this guy hasn't had good years, and he didn't have one last year. He played good, but he hasn't played since November. And I mean, fuck, dude. I've even said it. Like Aaron Rodgers and them are still over here practicing all day with their teams, just switching, dude, healthy as shit. And what makes Jimmy feel like he's better than these fucking dudes? He's not better than him. He's not. Jimmy's not even on the same fucking playing field or talking field as Aaron motherfucking Rodgers, but he feels like he doesn't have to practice, right? Had an
So,
injury,
Dustin,
come to the offense, fuck
wouldn't
all
you
these
say?
things, but he
Wouldn't,
don't got to do it. That's just crazy as fuck.
so, wouldn't you say then that we're gonna lose more games with Jimmy rather than O'Connell?
I would insist that I would say by just as a mere fact that he doesn't have the playing time with the ones that Aiden does, I would bet my money on Aiden. And I don't care what anybody says about he's played in the system. No, he hasn't. He hasn't played in Josh's system for 7 years. He's playing behind a good line. He's hoping on, and the fact that he can dump the ball off to people here and there. The difference is Aiden seems like he understands the system. Seems like when people are coming into the pocket, he knows how to get away from it and still stay within the pocket and then drop the ball 20 yards downfield. That matters. That's a very big fucking deal. Is Jimmy gonna crumble down and go to the ground because the dude breaches the pocket and you don't want to get stepped on? Like what kind of reaction are we going to be getting from Jimmy because he's anticipating, my foot gets injured, I'm out for the season. Those type of shit are going to lose games, dude, where Aiden's going to be playing free strong in the way that he needs to play to win those games. Like, that's all I'm saying. We're putting too many thought factors into the game when you don't need those thought factors. I mean, I said this before Jimmy came back before his injury. I said, like, if Aiden's ahead of him in there, they should cut this fool. Like, if Aiden's ahead of Jimmy inside the system or with the players or anything, they should cut him, dude. Like, I don't know how many times I can bring up a video on this channel or anybody else's that implied before Jimmy started or Aiden started doing jack shit. I can bring up fucking hundreds of videos of everybody saying Aiden needs a year. Aiden ain't going to know the system. Aiden ain't going to be able to play with the players, blah, 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 blah. I heard this story for fucking months leading all the way up to this fucking time. And then now that Aiden's doing it, people are like, oh, look at him now, man. Like, hey, I've known it the whole fucking time. I've known that he was going to do this. I knew he was going to play good with them. So my point is why in the fuck are we waiting on Jimmy? I'm not understanding this, and I get if you pay him money or not. I don't give a fuck. Jimmy's getting paid peanuts. He's getting paid $23 to $25 million a year. That's peanuts at a quarterback, dude. I can give two fucks about that, dude. And like at the end of the day, I thought we were supposed to play the best players that give us the best chance to win a fucking Super Bowl. And if Jimmy's broke toe fucking ass over here trying to lead in teams is going to win our Super Bowls, I don't know about that, dude. Like, I'm not going to imply that Aiden's just going to come out and win a Super Bowl, right? The thing is I'm not implying with either quarterback we're winning the Super Bowl. Those words ain't even coming out of my mouth. The thing that I'm saying is I feel like we can win a playoff game with Aiden or with Jimmy. I don't think it matters who the fucking guy, and I don't think we're going to the Super Bowl with Jimmy, and I don't think we're going to the Super Bowl with Aiden. So at the end of the day, it's just about getting to the playoffs, winning the fucking playoff game, getting our place in there to get ready for next year, and then make a push. But the odds, the fucking odds are so high against us to win the Super Bowl this year. It's unrealistic. And not only that, just the reality of it is, like I said, the difference if you win a playoff game with Aiden is he's the future. He could be the future of our franchise at quarterback. Jimmy gets a win in the fucking as quarterback, dude. Are we trying to keep him for 8 more years? We're trying to keep this motherfucker till he's 40? Like, fuck, I'm good on that shit. He's 31 and can't get the ball downfield already, and we're going to try to keep this dude till he's 40? Like, fuck no, dude. So that's all I'm trying to say is like, I want to see where the hell they are and play the best quarterback. That's all I say.
Yeah, I agree with that. Should play the best man for the job.
I think you should be the best man for every position.
Yeah, I mean, when you so going back to the Kenny Pickett example from last year, right? So he started 12 games and he played in 13. So it took the Steelers 4.5 games, third quarter, something like that, of his first game. in the NFL. So it took somewhere between 4 and 5 games for the Steelers to figure out that he was the better option over Mitch Trubisky. So I mean that being the case, I think there's going to be in the very least some kind of leeway that Jimmy G is going to be given, at least as far as oh, he's back. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. No, so I do think there is going to be at least some leeway. The question is, right, and to me this is the biggest question, how how much um how much leeway, how much margin for error is Jimmy G given, right? Because it could get to the point where if he's not cutting it and if the offense is not, being productive enough, um, and it's 6 7 weeks into the season, it will definitely get very frustrating, right? And you could
Yeah,
argue
but
that
can you see them cutting them in week 1? Like, can you
no,
see them saying like Jimmy starts struggling against the Broncos, and then we're gonna fucking uh, salute Pyro. If you like I say, if Jimmy starts to struggle in week fucking 1 against the Broncos, do you think that they would be able to sit and say like throw Aiden in there and see where he's at with them, or do you think we would go through and take the L with Jimmy?
I mean, short answer to your question, I think they would take the L with Jimmy.
But
It
see, that's
obviously
my
always
point. That's my exact point. That's my exact fucking point. Just be dumb as
look.
hell.
No, look, I'm with you, right? I'm with you as far as right. I mean, first of all, right now it looks like Aiden is the better quarterback. Obviously, he's gotten more of he's got more snaps. He's gotten more of an opportunity in this preseason. Jimmy's only had one drive, in which, other than that one sort of wounded duck pass, he looked pretty good. So, it's still, I don't think we have enough to judge off of right now, in both the case of Jimmy and Aiden. But, if it does, happen that Jimmy G is not cutting it, and like I said, it would probably, in the absolute least, it would extend beyond the Broncos game. So, if they get blown out or whatever, or the Raiders only put up like 16 points or whatever, um, you know, I just think that given the contract that they have signed Jimmy to, he's going to get more. He's going to get at least a several game leash now. And like I said, this is the biggest question, right? Like, and you have to kind of go by feel. You also have to assess the locker room. You have to assess how the team feels about Jimmy G. Do they still think that if they get off to a rough start, does he sort of have that kind of X factor to sort of bounce back, um, or do they just decide what, now it's time to activate Aiden? Like it'll really depend on what this coaching staff feels as far as that, if that situation does present itself. But it really is something I can't put an exact number on it right now as far as number of games before they cut him off, Jimmy G, that is. So, I mean, hopefully I would just say that, it would be before it's too late, right? Because you look at Kenny Pickett, right? Going back to that example, he had a record of 7-5,
Yeah, but
and I think
this is what I go back to my. That would go back to my point is at the point of determining too late, is that determining that he has to come and win every single game? Like where's
right.
the point of too late? Like what's determining too fucking late? And then what's unrealistic to determine too late? And then to sit and say that you're going to ask some dude to come in and win every single game out to fucking try to be great, make the playoffs, and go win all them too, like that's not real. That's not real. Odds are he's probably going to lose 2 or 3 fucking games, and then you're going to want to have him there for about 9 or 10 games. So the realistic would be is that you wouldn't even want him. If you wouldn't, you would want him in there no later than week 6 or 7. If we're in 17 weeks of gameplay, I would think Aiden would need at least 10 weeks of play time to be able to say like, hey, he can win fucking 6 or 7, lose 3, like stuff like that. But to just
Mhm.
didn't say like, oh hell, we're gonna put him in at the last minute and expect him to go win 8 fucking
Right.
games with no losses, with no falters. I mean that's dumb. I feel like that's just dumb management, dumb fucking. That'd be dumb developing shit like that. I think you got to be fair in it, especially he's going to take some losses. You already know it. But the difference is does he learn from them? Does he develop better? Does he get better? Like, that's what you're trying to do and see where he's at. And with the quarterback class that's coming this year, I think it's a mandatory plus that he gets play time regardless of Jimmy's health or not. Like, I think with the draft class, dude, to sit here and see Aiden have the year he had in the preseason and then not even challenge him whatsoever inside of the regular season, and then not grab a QB out of this next year. Man, boy, Ziegler's not stupid, man. This guy showed one fucking thing to him to indicate dumb on his forehead. So I just can't see him not getting one. You know what I mean? So that's why I feel like Aiden's got to have the time to burn. He has to have the burn.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, when Aiden does eventually get his chance, I'm sure he'll have to, just like every other, young quarterback that's ever played in the NFL, he's going to have to make his rookie mistakes. There's going to be a learning curve. And so at first, you're probably not going to see as much success as you might want or expect. But, in reality, like I said, the amount of time, if you're talking about trying to make the playoffs this season, the amount of time that you give Aiden, to make those rookie mistakes and to sort of, I guess really get used to, true meaningful NFL football, because there is a difference between preseason and regular season. A lot hangs in the balance, right? And it depends
Chris,
on
appreciate you, bro.
timing it exactly right, because like I said, going back to the Kenny Pickett example last year, he had a record of 7-5 and they finished 9-8. And when you think about the fact that, the Dolphins made the playoffs ahead of them at 9-8, ostensibly, had they decided to activate Kenny Pickett even a game earlier than they did, maybe they finished that season 10-7 and they make the playoffs right then and there, right in Kenny Pickett's rookie year. So, it's tough to say, right? As far as how long of a leash do you give Jimmy G, before it's appropriate to make him the backup. And like I said, you also don't, if you want to make the playoffs this year, which obviously guys like Devontae Adams, they want the success now. How you want to give Aiden enough time, like I said, to maybe have some early losses, maybe have some bad games, but then to start to pick it up. Because if you only give him like 5 games at the end of the season, even if he starts to figure it out towards the end of the season, it might be too late as far as making the playoffs go. But either way, I think you could definitely argue that the future is bright for Aiden O'Connell, right? Whether it's, like I said, he only gets 3 games of action this year, maybe it's 5, maybe it's a lot. We don't know how it's all going to play out. So, but this whole thing, as far as the coaching staff making a decision, might be moot because Jimmy G could, for example, get injured, right? And then Aiden is sort of forced into the limelight, right? He's forced to all of a sudden become that number one quarterback, which, as we saw with Justin Herbert, due to the injury of Tyrod Taylor, that mishap he suffered at the hands of the training staff, the Chargers had no choice but to start Justin Herbert, who obviously is leaps and bounds ahead of the likes of Tyrod Taylor, who was originally ahead of him to start that season. So, like I said, I mean, whatever the case may be, and maybe it involves the Raiders not making the playoffs if they have Aiden start the season, too late. He can definitely take whatever momentum he amasses throughout this season into next season. Then we might very well be seeing Aiden O'Connell as a lock for QB1 come next year. Ozzy, was there anything you want to add?
Yeah, I'm just kind of with Dustin what he was saying. Like, we should try and see what we got in Aiden. And like, if Jimmy comes at the gate and he loses, like, say 2 or 3 games in a row, then I'll start Aiden at that point. Because really, even the Broncos, really, because I mean, the Broncos haven't beaten us in 3 years, right? They haven't beaten us in 3 years. So if, to be honest, if fucking Jimmy loses to the Broncos, then I'd even give Aiden a shot after that because
Yeah, with a better team.
yeah, exactly. Because we got a better, more weapons. Our defense should be better. There's no reason we should lose week 1. I don't give a fuck what the analyst says. There's no reason for us to lose week 1.
That's
Week
bad.
2, week 2 is a different story because it's the Bills. The Bills is a good team. The Bills are like, perennial playoff teams. So that's a different story. But the Broncos are like, to me, like, no offense, but the Broncos are like I mean all the offense in the world because they're the fucking Broncos, but they're like the bottom feeders of the AFC West. So if we can't beat the fucking Broncos, then there's something wrong.
Yeah, and I feel like even how people are saying, like, oh, they're upgrades. They're not better than they've been in the past. They're not better than they've been in the past.
Plus, their
And
team.
we have a better offense. We have better assembled defense. And if we allow them to beat us, dude, I mean, hell fucking no.
That's what I said. To me, the Broncos aren't shit till they actually beat us. They haven't beaten us in 3 years.
I said every single time Aiden's gotten the ball and has the time to get down in there, he goes right down the field. Like,
to be honest,
it doesn't seem like he struggles too often, very often. And it doesn't matter if he's doing this against preseason or not. If he gets out in the regular season and does it just, half of what he's doing right now, he's still going to be hell successful, like massively successful. So
I agree. And to take it one step further, I'd even say this: if we're like, say we're playing the Broncos, right, and it's like we're down like 2 touchdowns by halftime, and Jimmy's playing like shit, then I'd be like, you know what, put Aiden in there. Let's see how he does in the second half. Let's see if he.
Dude, I think if we come out and it's 24-0, dude, we drop the fucking Jimmy and roll with Aiden.
I'm not even saying that. I'm saying, like, let's say it's 17. What's that? 17-31 or something, right? At halftime or some shit like that, or it's like 2 touchdowns basically. I'll put Jimmy. I'll put Aiden out there at halftime and see if he can turn it around.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, I want Jimmy to succeed. It's not that I don't, dude. It's just
same.
I'm more excited. I'm more excited to see where Aiden stands. Well, I want to see where Aiden stands in the NFL as our quarterback in the future. If we were willing to go with fucking Derek Carr, 0-10, 0-10, I think, before he ever did anything, and we jocked him to be the best quarterback in Raider history. I mean, I'm willing to roll with Aiden a few games, see what the hell's going on. I don't think he's going 0-10. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see that happening in any way, shape, or form. So, I mean, when you're looking at his accuracy, the way that he's playing, shit like that, like that shit speaks massively. I mean, he's not slouching it, dude, in any way, shape, or form, and he's outclassing every single rookie in the fucking that's been drafted this year outside of DTR, dude. But again, people got to remember they got 3 games in already because they played in the. Didn't they play in the Hall of Fame game? I think they played in the Hall of Fame game. Or who played in that? Was that wasn't it Cleveland and the Jets?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, again, that's what I'm trying to say is like outside of DTR, nobody else has even been putting up anywhere close to the numbers that he's been putting up. So, I like I said, I mean, the problem is we just got rid of Carr, dude, our main quarterback, and we're acting like Jimmy's gonna be like we're talking like Jimmy's our starting future quarterback. Like I ain't fucking cool with that. Like you want to bring him here for a year, so. That's cool, but I want to see exactly who the hell Aiden is. At some fucking point, we need to know who the fuck Aiden O'Connell is. Like, you cannot sit here and say, oh, we're going to roll with him and hope for his future and see what he does, and just imply that we're hoping the future is going to be good when you got fucking dudes coming out of next year's draft that could be great. You know what I mean? You can take quarterback in the second round probably 20th pick and still end up with a pretty damn good fucking future quarterback. So
I
that's
say
all
even
I'm trying
third
to
round.
say. Yeah, that's all I'm trying to say is like I want to know who Aiden is, man. I like at the end of the day, I like fucking Chase, dude. I think he's a good idea, but I don't really give a fuck who Chase is. Like I know that this is how our roster looks. Jimmy is obviously a lock. He's 100% going to be there. Aiden, he's either going to be the future or he's going to be a backup. Hoyer, motherfucker, ain't going to be here after probably next year, period. Then fucking Chase, he's just a hopeful, a thought, and a dream. So if we just do the reality of it, we can damn near just knock off Hoyer and Chase, keep fucking Jimmy and fucking Aiden. So there's your 1-2. Who's going to be your 3? I think that's the person you're going to find in next year's draft. Now, is that number 3 going to be a 1 or a 2? That's where the determination comes. Does Jimmy falter out this year? Aiden come in, can't match what he does in preseason. Now instead of drafting the quarterback in the 3rd or 4th round like you did Aiden, now you have to draft them either in the 1st or 2nd round. Cause now you're looking for your future quarterback. I mean, Jimmy has already shown it doesn't matter if he plays well or has a good rep down the field. The thing that Jimmy's already shown you is that he can't get downfield. That matters. That fucking matters. You're not going to play in the NFL for the next 10 years and not get downfield. Like, that's not going to happen, dude. It ain't going to work like that. So, and if he's only 31 years old and can't get downfield, odds are in the next 2, 3, 4 years, his career is done anyways without getting downfield. It's not like he's going to get better at it. The more he goes, the better he gets. He's already been playing for 9 years. Pretty sure that shit's over.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I've been saying. Like this year, we really got to know what our quarterback room is.
Yeah, I think it's
crucial. I feel like it would be a huge mistake if we don't find out what our quarterback room is with the next draft coming up, and we miss out on a star player because we didn't know prior what our quarterback room really was. I don't want to end up with another Derek Carr situation where we're not really sure where the guy is at for so many years. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think
good quarterbacks can make good quarterbacks can make great players. And when you have fucking receivers, tight ends, people like just say May are going to have a little bit of struggling. You have a guy like Aiden that can put the ball right where it needs to be to help Mayer out. Jimmy's going to underthrow him, dude, make him have to struggle a little more to have to get underneath himself.
Yeah, him and Hoyer.
Him look bad.
Yeah, Jimmy and Hoyer both underthrew in that last game.
And that's my point is people are like, well, he did it only in one play. He only threw the ball 4 fucking times. So he did it a quarter of the time. He did it the quarter of the time that he threw the fucking ball. That's a pretty big stat right there. Pretty sure you don't want to have a quarter of your throws being underthrown.
Exactly, and I said the same thing. I think it was on Twan's live chat. I said, yeah, like what you said, let's let fucking Jimmy and Aiden battle out in the last preseason game.
I mean, you have nothing to lose. I mean,
what I would do is give the first quarter to Jimmy, the second quarter to Aiden, and then the last 2 quarters to Chase.
I mean,
the second half is going to be mostly 3s and 4s anyway. So,
I mean, let's be honest though. As much as we enjoy talking about this, do we even think that they're actually going to do that?
Well, we'll have to wait and see. It's a possibility, but it's slim.
I have no fucking idea what they're going to do in the last game. I don't know if they're going to play the starters, which I fucking sure hope they do. But that's the thing. I can't go out there and say, yeah, that's what they're going to do because I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, I don't know why there would be a reason to see Hoyer play. Hoyer played last week. He sucked. I mean, I think there's a reason you need to see Jimmy play because he hasn't played and he didn't look, like I said, dude, if we're talking about a run up the gut, dude, that fucking Munford and fucking, what's his name, Van Rotten led up in there for Bolden to get in there, and we're going to start just giving all these other guys credit, dude. Like, we can't fucking do that. We can't do that shit, dude. Like, we can't do that. And I feel like Jimmy, dude, he lacks in a lot of different spots where Aiden doesn't. So what my point is why are motherfuckers so scared to let Aiden go out there and earn that spot? Like, what is everybody so fucking scared about, dude? Like, I don't care if Jimmy's getting 25 or for 23 fucking. I can give two fucks.
Yeah, he
Dude.
can
If
play the
Aiden's
backup. I mean,
better,
look at it. Yeah,
if
look at
Aiden's better and he costs me 800,000, I can care less. I can care
yeah,
fucking
exactly.
less.
And
And if they
not
want to
just
say,
that. I mean, like, yeah, we paid Jimmy a lot of money, but let's put it this way, because we already know that Aiden is a clear-cut quarterback too, right? So whether Jimmy's quarterback 1 and Aiden's quarterback 2, and we're paying like what 25 million total in the quarterback 1 and 2, right? Because Jimmy's like 24, Aiden's like 800K. Whether it's Jimmy starting and Aiden as a backup, or Aiden as a start and Jimmy as a backup, the total was still the fucking same amount of money.
damn right, 25-25 is what it is.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
25 to
So like,
25.
it doesn't
So.
make a difference when it comes to the money. It doesn't make a difference. It should just start whoever's better, and then the other one can be the backup. I'm fine
And
with that.
that's the way I feel. Like if people are sitting here trying to say, well, Jimmy has more NFL experience, I would say, well, yeah, you're right. He does have more NFL experience at getting to those games and losing. That's what I would have to say, because there hasn't been anything that's implied that him getting there that he's gone and won them. Like, has he got him there? Yeah, but that's a big part on the teams that he's been on too. So the thing is that if Aiden gets there, dude, and can lead in the same way, you have to remember Aiden's doing what Jimmy's doing 9 years in the league, and Aiden's doing it the first year, and that's massive. That's massive. And I think the way that this team's set up, I keep saying it. I've said it numerous times. You can take quarterbacks like these guys, like Aiden, and do these type of things because of how good your offense is. He has a really good offensive line. He has a really good offensive wide receivers, halfbacks, tight ends. Like, he has the fucking real package, dude. So, I mean, the way that Aiden looks, goes through his progressions, fucking sees, like, is he going to get ate up by a few fucking DNs throughout the year? Yeah, fuck, it's only natural. Dudes are going to get through and welcome to the NFL. But at the same time, I think the kind of player that Aiden is, he's going to brush that shit off, go right back in there and probably dot a dude for fucking 30 yards or 20 yards down the field and put it on him. What the thing that I see with Jimmy is that Jimmy gets tackled, we lose yards, and then we're trying to look for a big play. I can see Jimmy throwing into 3 players and turning the fucking ball over. Like, that's exactly what I can see. Like, he doesn't have it, dude. Like, there's times where you have fucking Tucker where he's running across the field and 3 motherfucking dudes, safety, corner, linebacker, all trying to match on that fool, and he just throws it right in on him. Fucking right on him. And I'm like, yeah, that shit fucking matters. Like, that's just 3 dudes off the center of the field. One player took 3 motherfuckers off the center of the field, and we're sitting here saying like Jimmy's gonna make the same passes. No, he is not. No, he's not.
And another thing I did notice, I can't remember if it was, I think it was Hoyer. There was a play where, if you look at like the line of scrimmage in that play, there was a play where Tucker was running like across to the right, and he was wide open, and then Hoyer just threw it to the flat and didn't even look Tucker's way. He was wide open for like about 20 yards.
Yeah, and Aiden's favorite plays are to look down in the middle of the fucking field where dudes are and dot him. Just dot right on him with 4 dudes, and he'll hit him. Like, he has really good gameplay, really good accuracy, dude. Like I said, Aiden he's not no joke, man. Like, this guy needs to get changed.
I didn't see people saying the same. I mean, saying this shit about Herbert, telling him not to start. Just saying. It shouldn't matter what round you picked, and it should be matter on your playability.
I mean, that would be implying that Max and them wouldn't be worth the shit. Renfro wouldn't be worth the shit. Fucking Waller wasn't worth the shit. I mean, you're talking about all the dudes they dick ride wouldn't be worth fucking nothing if they implied that logic.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, you don't say, oh, Herbert shouldn't have started, or fucking Murray, or whoever other quarterbacks are drafted. But just because you're drafted in the 4th round, it shouldn't matter if you should start if you're able to start. Like,
if you're better than the starter, you should start. Yeah. Period. I don't give a fuck who your name is. I don't care where you're at. I don't think there's ever been a time that Tom Brady was the starting quarterback for the Patriots, that there was someone behind him like Aiden O'Connell that was like, hey, this guy should start over Tom, Like that, we're sitting here literally saying the debate that, hey, I would rather see Aiden start over fucking Jimmy. There's a debate to be had because it can most definitely happen. The odds are you wouldn't be having this debate with Tom Brady at the quarterback. You know what I mean? Like, you'd be like, well, if Aiden's going to sit back and wait his turn, like, that's what you would say. But with Jimmy here, there's the implying that he can most definitely lose it to Aiden at some fucking point in the season. You know what I mean? So
And the other thing is, I'd rather it happen sooner rather than later. If anything, I'd rather that Aiden's first game is against the Broncos because we've dominated the Broncos the last 3 years. So if Aiden can come in there and win that match, then it's going to be a good test for him. Like, because I feel like against the Bills, it would be like way too hard to just throw the kid in the fire against the Bills, like a top AFC
I want to
team.
see him play the Broncos and Bills. I want to see him play both of them because
Yeah, I wouldn't mind.
I want to see him play
Say half a
division
game with
team.
the Bills,
The
but
division
like depending
team.
how
I
he
think the
plays.
Broncos are the most distraught team within our division. So
Yeah, exactly.
for me, I would love to
Be
see
a
him
good practice
play
game.
one divisional game, and then if you're playing the Bills now, and say you go out there and you're playing competitive with them, you got to remember that's a team you're going to see probably in the playoffs most likely. So if you're looking
Exactly.
at Aiden right now, if you're looking at Aiden right now playing the game, and he's competitive against them now, and he's just getting started, the odds are he's going to be competitive against them, get playoff time. But if you come out in game 2 and Aiden goes against the Bills and they just kick the fuck out of him because he can't grasp the first team, this, that, Vaughn, all these dudes, then he's not ready. You know that he'll have to sit and wait a year. Like that's what I want to know. Does he understand it? Does he know how to get the protections? I'm gonna say fucking A, he does. And the reason why is every single time Aiden walks to the line, he identifies, dude. He identifies the player, dude. He'll be like, fucking
Speaking
this
of
linebacker,
that,
blah, blah. He'll say fucking corner, safety, fuck. He calls out the player every time, dude. Like, this guy is
yeah,
smart
and
as
that's the thing
fuck,
I find
dude.
most funny is that Aiden's like a rookie, and then there was that play that I showed you guys last live, where fucking Hoyer didn't even spot the fucking outside linebacker rushing at the running back, and didn't fucking assign Mayer to block him.
Yeah, Hoyer identifies almost every single play when he comes to the line. I watch him do it every time. They'll point him out, call it, lean down to the center, tell him. Like, they fucking do it. He does it every time. He has really good awareness in those things.
Aiden.
Aiden, yeah, he has a really good awareness in those things. So it's like when you're looking at that and you're watching it, you sit there and think like, man, I don't see. Like, I want to see more of Jimmy to see if he has it. That's all.
And that's another reason why I say Hoyer is useless, because if you watch him in that Rams game, he couldn't even pick up that Van Valkenburg linebacker dude was going to rush from the outside to get almost fucking tackle Zeus for a loss. Zeus is like to get 1 yard out of that.
But I do believe at the end of the day they'll keep Hoyer over Chase,
Yeah,
just
Chase,
because
I
of the
know.
fact that Hoyer can teach the receivers, the tight ends, things in the practice squad and in the.
Yeah, I get why, but I just don't like it. I get why though. Like it's.
But to me, it doesn't bother me because I look at it like this: like, if Jimmy's here and Aiden's here, and Aiden progresses the way that we think he's going to, and is really good, and let's just say that Jimmy's locked here for 2 years, and then Aiden doesn't get to start for 2 or 3, no matter what. If you're drafting a quarterback next year, Aiden's gonna know the system well enough to teach it. Like, Aiden is not dumb. He is smart as fuck, dude. So if he's learning it as fast as he's learning it already, he can teach that to somebody behind him easily. It would be nothing, and you're only gonna pay him 800 grand, and you don't have to have Hoyer there. Like, you're just not wasting a spot there. I think at the end of the day, the idea is to play the best players you have and to build the best roster you can at every single position. I think Jimmy's the veteran, dude. If Jimmy doesn't know it at that point, then tough fucking shit. I don't think we should designate roster spots that dudes like Hoyer that is year old, he needs to learn and teach these guys. Well, why? Why? The quarterback position is one of the most fragile positions in all football and one of the most demanding positions. So what happens if they develop them? What if they develop the quarterback, the third string quarterback, and trade the fucking dude? That's valuable cap right there, dude. And fucking, so for me, Hoyer loses a lot of fucking deal. Draft cap, potential. It's a lot of fucking loss to have a guy like Hoyer there where they think him teaching the system. If they didn't know the system already, what's he teaching them? Like, what is he teaching them for real? He's not teaching them.
That's my point, though. That's what I'm saying. To me, Hoyer's just taking up an unnecessary spot because, I mean, if you can go out there and showcase Chase Garbers or whatever, who knows? Maybe someone gives you a 6th-round pick for him or something like that. You know what I mean? As a quarterback too for their team or some shit like that. Like, I just feel like you're losing value by not playing Chase, man. That's just the way I see it. And going back to what you're saying with Jimmy, though, is I don't see us moving on from him next year because no matter how you slice it, you're out of pocket 13 million for dead cap. Whereas if you wait till 25, there's zero dead cap. You can get the whole 24 million back, and there's no loss whatsoever. You can just outright cut Jimmy for no loss at all.
Facts. You have anything you want to say, Sergio, or what?
Nah, not really.
All right. Well, we're probably gonna bounce off right here. I got to get over to the grain field, dude. I got to fucking check on it. And the minute I go up around this corner, it's gonna cut my phone off. So, outside of that, do you guys have anything else you guys want to talk about before we hop off real quick, or what?
Yeah,
nah, I'm good. I gotta get ready for work anyway.
I'll just quickly say,
All right. Hell yeah.
don't be too hard on our rookies, man. It's a rookie year. Give them a chance. Because, like, people have been tough on Tucker and Zamir White, and they're still rookies, man. Especially Tucker, though. I mean, people got to remember Henry Ruggs had a 60% catch percentage his first year, and then after 1 year with Edgar Bennett, he had a 66.7, almost 70%. So just give the kid a chance.
Facts. They got a lot of players here that are young and rookies and UDFAs that are all going to be pretty good and have a good time. And I mean, like I said, 3 preseason games. I don't know if it's enough time to be able to give people fair, analyze them, things like that. So, like I said, we'll probably end up cutting some people that shouldn't be cut, but that's just the way that the game goes. We'll probably end up keeping a veteran player over a younger player just because of the fact of the experience, things of those factors. So, like I said, I mean, for me, I trust in who they're going to pick, dude. I mean, obviously, they're trying to get better every single second. That Costin dude that we signed, Doug Costin, I mean, that was a pretty decent pick. I'm not even going to lie. The dude's only 25 years old, UDFA.
Yeah,
he's a good depth piece. He's a good depth piece. So, I mean, I think
is that the one? Is that the one that played for Jacksonville, or is there a different kid?
Yeah. Came from Iowa, and then he was at Jacksonville. He was at Jacksonville. Like I said, the guy has okay numbers as a backup depth. So that's all I can say.
For backup.
When you're looking at a 4th or 5th dude, he's not a bad player to have inside there. And then being here in Graham and the way that they're developing people and the way they're playing right now, that Costin dude, he might be an actual really good pickup there. So the linebacker, I know he's done pretty well. I'm not really too keen on him. But again, it's just another depth piece over there fucking on the player. So for me, like I said, I think that's
9. Just to give you some numbers, in 9 games, like he appeared in 12 games in 2020 and started 9. This is Costin that I'm talking about. He had 2 pass deflections, a fumble recovery, and 32 combined tackles and 1 quarterback hit, which is not too bad when you only 9 games.
Last year, as a backup.
As a backup, yeah. And then last year, he only had the 1 game, so not many stats last year. But I do see the potential in the kid. Like, he's still, like you said, he's still very young. He's only 24 years old, turns 25 this year. So,
yeah.
Still a lot of potential.
I think, like I said, it'll be. You got 1 more game, put him out there, let him see what he can do. You never know. He might go out there and wreck motherfuckers to earn a spot, So
yeah,
that's all I say when you're in the final game of the season, or preseason right now, knowing that you're about to cut down to 53 men and put 16 dudes on a practice squad. Dudes out here are going to be going to war right now. That's what it's going to look like. They're going to go to war.
The linebacker you were talking about, the one at Illinois, Big Ten, 2020 didn't start. He was a freshman. Junior year, he had, 7 combined tackles. He only played 2 games, had 7 combined tackles. Pretty much didn't really play much in 2021. Last year was his first year kind of starting. He had 13 games. He had 71 tackles, 7.5 for a loss, and a sack. So that's pretty good in 13 games.
Yeah, I mean, that picks up instantly.
Yeah, as soon as he was a starter, he pretty much had good stats, 71 tackles and 7.5 tackles for loss and a sack in 13 games is pretty good, even by college standards.
Hey, this is interesting news. The the Dolphins contacted the Raiders for a trade offer for Jacobs, but the Raiders said that Jacobs isn't available.
Yeah, because they're trying to go for what's his name right now too? Fucking
Jonathan Taylor.
yeah, Taylor.
Right now, 6 teams contacted the Colts, but the Colts put
Oh,
Taylor on a
2
deadline.
teams.
Like, hey,
They
if you
got
can't
2
get
teams.
traded by Tuesday, then you're staying on this team.
They said 2 teams gave bids too. Out of the 6 that contacted, 2 gave bids.
Who gave the bids?
I
That
think
they
it
didn't
was.
disclose it.
Yeah, I feel like personally it was probably the Eagles and the Dolphins.
Yeah, I think if the Dolphins contacted us for Jacobs, I mean, unless it's a first round pick, I'm probably not even gonna worry about what they're saying.
That's probably what they asked for too. If the Colts also are asking for a first round pick.
Yeah, they're not gonna get it from
I don't
him.
think even if we were to trade Jacobs, I don't see any team giving up a first with the current running back market and situation. Unless it's a late first, like somewhere I said it the other day, I think it was a Lunatics thing. 30 to 32. First round pick, yeah, otherwise it could be a higher second, like 33, 34, 35. But it's not because Jacobs isn't worth the first rounder, same with fucking Taylor, but it's because just how the running back position is undervalued right now.
I've said I think Jacobs, if he doesn't come back and sign this tag at 10 or 12 million, he's just dumb. Ezekiel only got 8.6.
I mean, at this point, even like every
Dalvin got fucking 6 million. I mean, you know what I mean? Like
even every other content creator has said that Jacobs at this point is just shooting himself in the foot. Like, because even then, like one thing that I know for certain is McDaniels is very high when it comes to like practice. Like that's the one thing he said too. Like during press conference, like, hey, I would really like it if he could at least practice with the team and everyone. I mean, that's kind of something that we've been lecturing a lot on this panel, haven't we? If a player isn't practicing with the team.
Yeah, I agree. And not only that, the other way you got to look at it with what Dawson was saying about being dumb, it really is dumb because, I mean, if you tag 12 now, and then even if you were to get tagged in 24, that's 13.5. So you can make 25 million in 2 years, right? So if you work that out, 25 million in 2 years is the same what Henry got in his first 2 years after winning back-to-back fucking rushing titles because he got 50 million over 4, which is 12 million a year pretty
much. Yeah, at this point, like I want them to force Jacobs to sit out at this point. Like,
yeah, if he doesn't want to
sign,
if he
dares tries to show up the last minute, if I were Zeke, I'd be like, nah, you're sitting out. I don't want.
I'll make him sit out the Broncos game because for the Broncos game, we probably don't even need him to win that game. In all honesty, like we smashed the Broncos every time. I don't think we can do it again even without Jacobs. So I'd make him sit out at least the Broncos game, even if he does come back, just to send a message. Because, don't get me wrong, I like JJ. I would love for JJ to be part of the team. But at the end of the day, I'm just tired of diva and players trying to dictate how the team is run and all that kind of shit. That's the GM's job. That's a head coach's job. It's not a player's job to say, like, to play bullshit games with the team. Like, he's missed how much practices and training camps and shit now?
Yeah.
I don't like how that looks.
And then you look at the other running backs. The other running backs have at least showed up for their team. Like Saquon.
I don't want Jacobs just to come in there and fuck up the team.
Saquon was like the loudest out of the running backs. Like he even said, like F the Giants. Yeah, he still showed up to practice before they offered him a contract. JT wants a trade, but he's still showing up to practice. Like Jacobs isn't showing up to practice at all. Like I hate to say it, like. Some people are going to call me an a-hole for saying this, but Jacobs is just being selfish at this point.
He is.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks, and nor should you. If that's how you feel, that's how you feel. Exactly, ain't nobody out there to tell you how to feel. If you feel that way, it's how you feel, and they don't like it, then fuck them all. Because, like I said, at the end of the day, Jacobs had every fair opportunity. The organizations gave him fair opportunity every single time, dude, and fucking he's refused it. So there ain't nothing we've been doing wrong. You know, he didn't get a long-term extension. It doesn't matter. 12 million a year is 12 million a year. Like that's what it is, and he still didn't want that. So for me, I've said it. He just become a distraction. It's just going to become controversy and problems within the team. When the team's playing as well as they look right now, I would like to keep it that way, dude. I don't need him to come out and fuck it up, you know. So
yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. is I don't want him to come in like whatever game and then like the team's gelling, they're going well, and then he just comes and throws a wrench into the whole fucking thing.
Yeah. And again, at the end of the day, I hope when Josh makes statements that, hey, they need to be here to practice and things, that he means that. So I hope that he
Yeah, we
means
said
it.
that shit last year. Then he's the first one
They
to
say
fumble the ball
like
against KC, but whatever.
they say that shit about not trading Josh, but are we not trading Josh because a big enough trade isn't offered, or why are you not trading Josh? You know, like, is it with hopes that he does sign by week 1, or is it just because he's gonna get offered a big enough fucking trade package yet for him? You know, like, what is the
Yeah,
reason
because
why?
they're just waiting until there's a running back needy team, like someone gets an injury at running back, and then they want to trade them.
Yeah, yeah. Carlos, like you said, if it gets hurt early on, we're just screwed. We're screwed all the way around the board with them. So
Yeah, and Carlos, I would say I don't think it's his agent at this point because you see Jacobs just going out to social. Like, there has to be a rule where you take away. Like, it's kind of like when people complain about Trump and Twitter. This is our version of Trump and Twitter. Just Jacobs going on social media every single day, and it gets annoying.
yeah, causing a lot of the drama to begin with.
Facts.
You know, at the end of the day, one player shouldn't determine the outcome of our team. One player, if he's going to have that outcome, it should be like Max, where they're trying to put it forth towards the team and the effort, not putting against our team, because everything he says against fans, and then he's liking posts where it's saying, like, Josh may lose Raider fans because of this, and he's liking the post. Like, that don't look good on me, but I
You're
don't care
kind of
how
showing
you're
you
trying to
really don't
justify your
care about the
contract.
fan base. You don't care
Yeah,
about the
fact. You
franchise
don't care
base.
what they think. You don't care what they think. You don't care how they feel. That's the people paying for your contract. They're buying your merch. They're buying your shit. That's how your contract gets paid. You know, like, and to neglect people because, like, that's crazy. I think so. I don't think that I don't think it's a smart idea doing that.
Like, I like it, like I don't like it, but it's an irony how it went from everyone having like a civil war over Jacobs, but now ironically it's gotten to like just Raider Nation versus Jacobs. Now all the fans are fed up with Jacobs at this point. And I believe it was after the contract offer of 12 million because now no one's going to argue like, hey, they gave him 12 million and he didn't take it.
Yeah, and I think like it's bad to have that you're having this conversation 2 weeks before the starting season. You know, 3 weeks roughly before the season kicks off with the starting game, and this is the controversy that we're having before we
Yeah,
get
that's
to
the
that
part that
point.
pisses me off the most.
That's
Like,
massive. Like that's
yeah,
massive.
like the way I see it is like it's you know, I'm not taking either side on it, but like if Jacobs really doesn't like the contract that's been offered, he should be like, all right, I don't like the contract you guys are offering me. Let me sign the franchise tag and then trade me to a team that's going to pay me what I want.
Yeah, and the
But
other
that's
thing
the
is
thing. He
like you
probably
said
already knows that no team is going to pay him what he wants.
Exactly. So at that point, it's like just sign the fucking thing then and play.
yeah, that's facts, Al. Imagine having 12 million contract and still complain that you're underpaid. That's facts.
If he took that contract, he would technically be one of the highest paid running backs right now.
Yeah, damn right.
It'd be as much as Henry got when he won back-to-back rushing titles per year. How can that be underpaid? Like, if you're being offered the same amount of money per year, maybe not contract length-wise, but per year, as a running back that dominated the league for the last 4 years and won back-to-back rushing titles, and is a better running back than you, and yet you're getting offered the same money per year as that dude, and you're still going to complain?
Not
Yeah,
only
like
that,
I said,
not only that,
I
but
wish
Henry
that if
being
Miami
behind like
offered
a
a
worse
trade,
O
Because I
line.
don't give a fuck what no one says. Henry has been the best back in the NFL for the last 4 fucking years after he started.
easily,
And because
easily.
people
And
don't, and people try and compare like this whole 25-year-old shit. Okay, well I counteract that fucking argument because Henry didn't start his first 2 fucking years. He played behind DeMarco Murray for fucking 2 years. Had fucking Henry started, but instead of DeMarco Murray, he would probably be at fucking 10,000 yards or damn near close right now.
and probably over 100 touchdowns.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, fucking like you said the other day, Henry averages over 100 yards per game.
Yeah, facts. That's why I say when
Jacobs
people get into
averages
the
are 80.
conversation, I'm like, his full average is 79. He averages 100, bro. Like, He's fucking straight slaying motherfuckers over there in the dirt.
The only other, like, don't get me wrong, Josh Jacobs is definitely top 5 to 7 in the league right now, easily. Could even make an argument for top 3, maybe. But the only thing he had the most of last year is rushing yards. He didn't have the most rushing touchdowns. He didn't have the most fucking receptions by a running back. He didn't have the most receiving touchdowns by a running back.
Yeah, he didn't even have a single receiving touchdown since
He
his
doesn't.
rookie
Yeah,
year.
it hasn't. No, he hasn't had a receiving touchdown. Period.
And what is fucking Henry have, like 25?
I think he's got, like, as far as he has
like 80
something like
and he has
70
like
fucking
60
rushing
or
ones
70.
and like fucking
60, 70
rushing ones, but he has like 5 or something or some shit.
Yes,
like
90. Yes. Yes, 90
more than Josh.
total. So
Yeah, it's something like that. Yeah.
80, 90. He has
Even
80 or
in the
90.
last 4 years alone, Henry had 58 touchdowns rushing in 4 years. It's just fucking phenomenal, if you ask me. 58 touchdowns in 4 years. Josh had 40.
Like I said, I just hope they figure it out, like, this week coming up, dude. Like, I don't want to get into the regular season and then still have the conversation about, oh, Josh
I
can
don't want
sign
it to
this
be
week.
like the final week of the off season and we're still in these types of conversations.
Yeah, and I don't want to
exactly.
fucking every single week of our fucking, I don't want to have every single week of our shows that we're over here fucking debating who's going to be fucking starting or who's going to, who's going to be playing. Is he coming back this week? Is he going to sign this week? Like, I don't want to have those conversations.
Yeah, I don't want that shit either. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like,
No.
I'm already predicting that he ain't coming back.
Yeah, that's what I've been saying. I've been saying most likely all along that he's either going to ride the bench or he's going to get traded.
He ain't going to sign the tag at this point, and I don't even think they're going to want him to sign at this point. They're going to force him.
Well, the only
to
way he signs the tag is, like I said, because he can't play for another team unless he signs the tag.
Yep, he has to be signed and traded.
Yep.
Unless the tag is rescinded. It's the only way.
And I don't see Ziegler rescinding the tag. I would not be like, fuck you, sit the bench.
He's not gonna do that. I think he would fucking. I mean, what's $10 fucking million?
Exactly.
If he's already at $10 million and got the team he has, I don't think he's gonna give a fuck.
We've got $5 million right now, even with Josh already on the books. So, and then we're going to cut down from 90 to 53. So by the time we're done with the cuts, we'll probably be around 7 to 10 million, even with Josh on the books already.
Dustin, I'll bet you like $1,000 that I don't even have. Like that, Jacobs comes back. He doesn't play the same as last year. Like not even close, not even half of it. And everyone's just gonna blame McDaniels and not Jacobs, who has a single practice. And I'd be like, this is the same dude doesn't show up to every single practice, and you're gonna blame McDaniels?
They'll find a way.
You know what would be funny is if Jacobs comes back and he has like Damian Harrison is like 900 yards, but he has a couple more fucking rushing touchdowns than last year. I fucking laugh and I'll go like, see, what the fuck did we tell you about RBC?
Hey, like I said, it's going to be running back by committee if Josh is here or not, so it doesn't really fucking matter.
Hey, Josh is here or not, I hope those young backs just take. I hope like the same way Dustin is with Aiden and Jimmy. Like I hope one of those running backs just take his job right away. Just at least one.
Yeah, I mean, I like that's the thing I'm not understanding. Like when people are debating the Josh and all this conversation, at the end of the day, if Josh comes back or not, he's gonna be a fucking. It's gonna be running back by committee regardless. They've already said that with Josh here or not, Zamir is planned for 75 plus carries.
Yeah, after only having 17 last year, so major fucking difference.
And hopefully for Zamir that he plays at least decently better. At least just give me at least 4 yards of carry.
Which I have no problem seeing him getting that. Like, he hasn't even really played against that one. I mean, behind that one.
John, he's done that with Waller. He did that with Edwards. He's done that with numerous people. He made the hype video for Edwards and then shipped that fool's ass up,
Hey,
you know.
The funny thing about it is Aiden O'Connell was the Bryan Edwards trade.
Good. The
And
Saints cut
Brian
that fool, dude.
Edwards, he was just cut from, I think, from the
The
Saints.
Saints.
Yeah, they
And
just
yeah,
cut
and yeah,
him.
people,
So
and yet people want to say Ziegler doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. Yeah, okay, whatever you're.
Yep.
yeah,
That's why I
imagine
laugh
that,
all the time,
he
man.
somehow convinced the Falcons to trade a fifth for Edwards just to cut him, and then we trade up that fifth for Aiden O'Connell.
Yeah,
That's
so
bad.
we got rid of a half wide receiver and got possibly a future quarterback. There you go.
Yeah,
It's like the funniest trade idea ever.
Well,
pro
apparently
pick
Ziegler's not a
receiver
good
for your
GM, and we
future
should fire him.
franchise quarterback. Fucking crazy.
Well, apparently Ziegler's not a good GM, and we should fire him. Apparently.
Well,
We should
no,
get rid of
apparently the
everybody.
team got significantly worse compared to last season. Which
Dude, I hate when I hear people say that, dude. I just feel like I don't even want to be their friends. I just want to be like,
Well, they're
if
fine.
you
Ziegler
can,
shit.
honest to God, if they could, honest to God, look at this team this year and say that we are worse this year than we were last year, I think that's the most delusional white padded room talk I've heard yet, dude. Like literally, like I just turn around and walk off. I wouldn't even entertain the conversation because it's probably the most invalid conversation, period. So there's no fucking way. There's no way.
You're gonna tell me that that this
They're
year's
probably gonna say we're
defense
worse
is
'cause of
gonna be
their current
worse
contract
than last year's, where
situation.
7 UDFA's were starters?
We played 4 games. We played 4 games last year. We weren't ranked in the top 4 in defense, period, in preseason. So I don't know how the fuck dudes would make accusations like that. Like it doesn't even make sense, man.
Exactly.
Salute, Chubby Chili. Appreciate you, bro.
I guarantee you the only ones making that stupid argument is the Kardashians and ones that want, think we can't win without Jacob.
It's just fucking Raider haters that say stupid shit like that. That we're gonna be in dark days. The team's done and over. We're not this. You can't make those type of statements, dude, with the type of players we have on the roster, dude. Like you can't do that. And I said, watch when Jimmy struggles and Aiden comes out here and starts making Jacoby Myers look like a fucking superstar, and Devontae Adams, which is probably this guy's dream player to play with, and he just starts hooking up with this dude. Like that, those things are gonna matter. Renfro, fucking Tucker, fucking all these dudes. Like this guy got some better weapons than he's ever had in his whole entire life.
Actually,
and he's taking lesser players and making them play at high levels.
I bet you if Aiden was out there, he wouldn't miss that fucking throw to Mayo when Mayo was wide open.
Yeah, that's facts, Carlos.
Oh, that's the type of throw O'Connell wants.
The 53
yeah, that's what I'm saying. The throw in the
fucking,
middle to Mayo, like that one that Hoyer missed where he on the throw and it was a pick
Yeah,
six.
and this is the one thing, Carlos. Last year, it was way easier to figure out who's the starters. This year, we're still struggling to figure out who's the starters, and not in a bad way, but in a good way.
Yeah, facts. It's gonna
Hey, that's facts right here, John. I mean, that's what they do. Look, dude, these guys are so bipolar. I have such issue. The same thing. You hear me say it all the time. Why I don't fuck around with other dudes, because they're so bipolar in their decisions. It's like they talk mad shit. They stand by a hella hard. Down dudes be talking mad shit. And then the second that fucking the Raiders start doing shit, because they're over here saying like Ziegler and Josh, right? I've been saying since day one that they were going to be just fine, that they were going to get good fucking players, that their shit was going to be just fucking fine. I've never batted against it one fucking time. They've been doing just fine. Now that it's showing up, dudes are all of a sudden just start changing their shit. Like, oh yeah, no, you haven't. No, you haven't. You ain't fucked with them. You ain't fucking with them. You're just fucking saying because everybody else is saying it now. Like, I hate that shit that people don't stand by what they believe in. If you believe their shit, say their shit. Like, that's the one thing I'll respect Rudy for, dude. As crazy as Rudy may be in some of his topics, that fucker will stand pat on his word, bro. Like, you're not going to get him to switch his shit off because you feel a certain way. He don't do that. And that's all I'm saying. Like, stand by your decision. I stand by mine. Everybody knows here, I'm not going to hop off my shit for nothing. Like, I'm either eating crow or eating steak, dude. It's one or the two, you know. But that's all I say is like I respect the people that'll stand pat with their decision, regardless of how crazy it may sound, versus people that this week, oh, I'm wearing your jersey. Next week I'm burning the bitch, and the following week I'm buying it again. You know, like I can't stand motherfuckers like that. That's fake. That's fake as fuck to me, dude. Like I've said it. I've been a Raider fan through the worst time in Raider history, and you don't hear me bashing my team, talking shit on my team like that to a negative way, like a lot of these guys do,
Yeah.
because
my
I
whole
just
life,
don't believe in it.
my whole life, we've been losing. I never seen us win once, and I'm still happy to support the team.
Yeah, because I just believe in the Raiders. Period. I believe in the mystique. I believe in the where we come from, what we've done. I mean, I stand for all of it. That's why I'm a Raider, dude. I mean, I just think fucking too many people are out there. They're like, oh, the number, how it is, or what's the record. That doesn't mean just because the record doesn't mean of why I'm a Raider. That's the stupidest shit I've ever heard. But it's cool, you know, whatever you think, you know. So I just think at the end of the day, I've spoke on it for the last year plus, since the day we've gotten Josh and Ziegler, dude. I mean, I've been big advocates for both of them, big time. I've said Graham, dude, was the one I was more sketched on, but even this year, I'm more on the Graham side just because of his results and what he's doing, what he's done in the Senior Bowl, what they've done in the draft, what they're doing through the camp, through the preseason. Like Graham's obviously showing his shit works when he has his people, so why would I keep hating on him if he's advocating to show that it's working, you know? So I spoke my piece on the fact how I felt like his shit was trash and I'd go Vic Fangio. But if he's gonna turn it around, I'm not gonna not notice it. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna most definitely notice it, and if it's doing good, then again I'll eat crow again on it. Again, at the end of the day, I want what's best for the team. Period. It's just like I keep saying about Aiden and Jimmy. Like I want the best fucking players to play. I want the best coaches to coach. You know, so I've said like people that just want to put down Josh and want to put you ain't even giving them a fair chance to coach. Like that's the kind of shit. That's like why I hate going on shows or going on other deals and talking, because nobody wants to give a guy a fair chance. They're acting like, oh, if he gets the job today, he has to win today. That's not how it is, dude. And like when you're having conversations like that with other people, that's not even a fair conversation, because the whole time all I want to say is it's like, yeah, you guys are keep saying this or this about the person or the deal, but the thing is you've not even given them a chance to succeed to begin with. Like you're not giving them a chance to iron out where other people have fucked up. Just because Gruden ran this team didn't mean it was built right. Again, that's another conversation. I can go back and show thousands of videos where I can show a lot of motherfuckers said Gruden didn't do it right. So to advocate Gruden didn't do it right when Gruden's here, but the second Gruden leaves and then Josh come here, oh, Gruden did it right. Like that's so crazy,
times I
dude.
just
Like
hear
so
like,
nuts.
oh yeah, Gruden, well, it was improving, and I'm just like, all right, do you you're not even willing to see if Josh can improve? Oh, Josh will never improve, and that's a fact. I'm like, how do you even know though? How do you know? And whichever, like, because I know like people like Dustin, they love Gruden and stuff like that, and nostalgia and anything. I never had the luxury to watch Gruden. I wasn't even alive during the first Gruden era, but I can say watching Gruden in my first experience, the dude sucked. In my opinion, like that's my opinion, just because I didn't like the drafting. I hated the free agency. The fact I had to wait 4 years, and not just 4 years. I had to wait till he was fired for us to start winning. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah,
Like,
I'm not gonna lie, dude. I'm a massive Gruden fan, dude, and I'd still take Josh over Gruden right this second. I would take this whole coaching staff over the Mayock Gruden coaching staff versus Josh and Ziegler. I'll take Josh and Ziegler's coaching staff over Gruden's all day long, dude. We have way more solidified fucking people in the positions that belong there. We're not fan putting people in places. Like this is probably one of the first times we've actually had solidified people in the spots that are where they're at, you know. So I'll roll with this one all day. I love Gruden, man. He's easily my favorite coach of all time. But nah, I'll roll with Josh and Ziegler all day day over it. But the
Yeah,
thing, we
and
got to
even
get
then,
up.
like,
I'll let you finish up here, but we got to hop off. I got to get over
Mhm.
to this field, dude, and they're going to be starting in that field here in the next 15
I was just going to
minutes.
get you to
So.
bring up something real quick, just so I can
No,
make
we'll
a
go
point
for
here.
about 10, 15 minutes, but I'm just letting you guys know we're going to be hopping off here quick because I got to get in
No
that
worries.
field.
yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
that's
my
cool.
piece, like the
Can you
finish
bring
off
up
my
that thing there,
piece.
if that's possible? Just a post I made like last year.
Hold
Just to
on,
prove a
what were
point.
you saying, Sergio?
I mean, just to say, like, to finish my piece, like, even though, like, I'm not as confident as Dustin to see us with 10 wins, I still see the whole team improving overall. Like, I can see it, like, I'm predicting we get 8 wins. Like, it's still a losing season, but even then, I can see us still getting 9 wins. And if that happens, like, at this point, like, I don't want to hear a single person talk about Gruden because it took Gruden, like, what, 3 years to get over 8 wins or 3 years
Yeah.
to get 8 wins?
Yeah, 8-8 was
Yeah.
just 500.
But yeah, that's my piece on that.
Yeah, so I was just going to get Dustin to bring up the thing here if we can see it. It's just one of my IG posts from like last year. Because this was back when we just finished the Cardinals game. Yeah, this one here. See, like I wrote, it's a bit hard. I tried to zoom in, but I couldn't zoom in, unfortunately. I don't know why it doesn't let me zoom in on IG for some reason. But basically, it says a lot of Raider fans as well as media analysts are on the fire coaching staff train. And this is going back to the Cardinals game when people were saying that shit after the Cardinals game. And I said at the time, I was preaching player execution, like up over the being the coaching issue. That's pretty much what it says. But yeah, that's my thing back from November of 2022. It says it right down here. November
Yeah.
of 2022 and 2.
Yeah.
But,
And then even then, like, people are still saying, "Oh, well, McDaniel's system is too complicated."
yeah, so true.
At this point, you can't say that anymore because he got his pieces. He got his QBs, he's got his receivers, he's got everything. And even on the defense, Graham's got his players, the players that he wanted to draft, the players of free agency that he wanted. So at this point, I don't want to hear any of that where it's like, oh, well, it's still not going to work because their system is like overcomplicated or it's just too stupid to handle. Like, I don't want it. I'm tired of hearing that at this point.
Yeah, well, if
Like
it's so
last year, we
complicated,
can
then
say
why is
that
Aiden?
last year because I
Yeah,
know for a fact, like almost none of the players seen a system like
but
that.
I'm just saying, if it's so complicated, why is Aiden coming in and looking like one
Facts.
of the best?
Facts. I mean, Mayor, I get what Mayor says about doing it, but Mayor said he's going to grasp it by the season starts. So I
Yeah,
think
that's what I'm
there's
saying.
going to, I think how some people view it and other people take it as two different things. I bet if people come in and did my job, they're going to say it's hard as a motherfucker, probably can't do it at all, but I go do it every single day like it's nothing. Like I said, different strokes for different folks, dude. Not
Heck,
everybody's
even
built the
for
same.
me, like I can even say the same for me. I work graveyard shifts. I can name like 1,000 people I know that would probably just hate working at night.
Facts. I've been up since 4 o'clock. I'm gonna go out to this next field till midnight, 1 o'clock. Go home, go to sleep, do it all over again, and do this for the next 3 months. Then get ready for the winter. So that's pretty much what my life is.
Yeah, it's just how it is. Just people, just I guess like people just don't like the new things that are happening.
Nope. But they'll all get on it once it does. So that's all that matters, I guess, at the end of the day. But I just feel like so many people are so easy to hate, but they'll hop over so easy. Like they'll hop over to the winning side so easy, dude. But either way, outside of it, we'll save that for Friday. Outside of it, if you guys don't have nothing else to say, we're going to bounce up out of here. I got to get over there here pretty quick. So outside of that, I hope you guys have a good night, but I'll let you guys say something. So let's finish off. So let's hurry up.
I'll just quickly say, like, after just people need to have patience, man. Give this front office time. I feel like the only reason we get hated on is A, they're expatriates, and B, because we moved on from their favorite fucking player behind center. That's it. That's the reason why there's so much bullshit and drama. But yeah, just keep this
A lot of
regime.
Raider fans have to have the drama. A lot of
Yeah.
Raider fans, a lot of YouTubers, a lot of chat people. They have to have the drama, dude. That's what they live by. I can give two fucks about it. Don't care about it. Don't tolerate it. Won't accept it. Won't allow it. I don't care. I don't need the drama. I just want to talk Raiders football, have fun, have debates, have a few arguments, fucking come back, do it again the next day. So that's pretty much what I like doing.
Yeah, And to anyone that's maybe like a new viewer or on the Discord or on YouTube or anyone that you know someone that's interested in what we're doing here, we're trying to be that neutral site, the neutral channel where we're just trying to take like no drama. Like we really hate the drama. We hate what's going on with Raider Nation as a whole, especially on social media. So just follow like Death Star Report on Instagram, follows Ozzy's on Instagram. Just follow me on Instagram, Stats. Join our Discord. Like we have all the links in the chat and stuff like that. Yeah, that's kind of like what we're doing here. Is why we preach it like every 5 minutes, just because we hate it. We basically hate how our team, franchise, and fan base has become, where we just thrive off of drama or stuff that doesn't even matter. Like the Jacobs talk. Like 3 of us here, I can for certain say that we all hate talking about Jacobs. Even if like what some people will call it big news, to us it's like whatever, like either sign the contract or just say that you're not going to sign the contract ever.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we're trying to do here. But other than that, that's all I got to say for my piece.
Yeah, Fox, dude, Raider, Jacob news ain't big news unless he's signed, because all it is just motherfuckers talking about the same shit over and over. It gets old as fuck. And it gets annoying, it gets irritating, it makes you not even want to do it. I hate it. I hate even doing it in our own show, dude. Like, I hate talking on subjects that we literally have spoke on about 10,000 fucking times. I can look at my thumbnails and see 5 out of fucking 10 of them being Jacobs. You know, like, I hate it, dude. It's the annoyingest fucking thing ever. So, outside of it, long story short, man, I hope you guys like the show, man. Appreciate all of you guys stopping by. We'll be live again on Friday, same time, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. Outside of that, I got to get out of here, man. I hope you guys have a great night, dude. Like I say, follow everybody here. Everybody's links is in the chat in the freaking bot. So outside of that, I hope you guys have a great night, and we'll catch you on Friday.
Gotcha, bro.
Have a good night.
You know what? I'm gonna play an old intro. Let's play this one.
I wake up to the sounds of the silence that allows for my mind to run around with my ear up to the ground. I'm searching to behold the stories that I told when my back is to the world. Was smiling when I turned.
Shocking, they want a static with position. I'm automatic, quarterback, I ain't talking shit.